Good morning. I hope everybody can hear me. What I've done, I put on my headphones so that way I can hear what I'm hearing on my end, and hopefully on your end, you'll be able to hear as good as I am. Because even though I'm not the most attractive or most articulate person on YouTube, I think that my audio is adequate, at least. So, anyway, I figured that since I'm not going to be here tomorrow morning, as I mentioned last week, I want to go to a couple of big yard sales. One of them is actually at the church down the street, sort of a neighborhood yard sale. It starts around 7:30, 8 o'clock whenever people get there, and it ends like 1 or 2. And then down the end of the road at the University of Miami, they have what they call the Flamingo Net Radio Club free flea market. And the reason that I'm going to try to go to these flea markets is because I really need to get a hold of a camcorder so I could try to play back some of my old tapes that I have in my collection. I have a lot of old YouTube videos, and I really hope that I can find a camera that will play these because I think it would be kind of interesting for all of you to be able to see what I look like when I first started YouTube. Now, I did find one video that I had stored on a hard drive, but it wasn't something I was going to post on YouTube because it's actually a picture of me. Um, my mom was acting weird, and this was back in 2015, somewhere around there. I could never get my mom to go to the doctor. So, what I tried to do, I tried to make a video of her, how erratic she was acting and complaining about pains and stuff like that to send to the doctor. So that way, at least I could get some kind of advice because, you know, in my world, the best advice I can give, I tell people, just eat a lot of meat. If you're old and you're suffering and you don't feel good, it's like when I was a teenager. I wasn't suffering, but I was really kind of upset with my life, being one of the shortest and skinniest. Meanwhile, the other kids had a halfway decent physique that they could show off. And me, I think the only person that got jealous of me was a skeleton that was hanging in the biology class. But anyway, yeah, my goal back then was to either go for it or drop dead. So I tried to tell my mom, instead of eating what you normally had, the bread and the coffee and all that, why not just enjoy some delicious steak and eggs? But just getting my mom to eat one egg a day was a chore in itself. She would only eat the eggs as a boiled egg, and then it had to be with some cornflakes or some other stupid cereal. And I don't know. I tried to make things better, in terms of the coffee. My mom always liked decaffeinated coffee. And then on top of that, she didn't want real cream. She always wanted that nasty artificial creamer, which is basically just seed oils and chemicals and who knows what else. So, anyway, in my world, well, I don't do coffee. And after my mom died, the remaining coffee that I had went straight onto the banana plants. That gives them the opportunity to grow faster and better. So what I've done, I have went back to my usual tradition, and I will show you what it is. Now, normally I would be eating breakfast by now, or it would be almost cooked. But because I haven't had access to eggs, I haven't been able to have my usual steak and eggs breakfast, and meat has been a bit expensive. So what I've done, I actually got the pork that was on sale. They had the butt roast or whatever they call it, and that pork was 99 cents a pound. So what I do, I cut a 2 pound piece every morning. I still have a bit of it left. So I got 2 pounds of pork sitting in water and it's slowly cooking. And what I do with that, after I cook it, I also take the leftover water and I put it into a container. I pour it through a screen, put it in the refrigerator, and separate out the lard that comes out of it. Because every time that you cook pork, any extra fat is going to be rendered into lard. So I take that lard and I put it into a container. And then when I get enough of it, I can have some heart attack chicken. Now, you probably haven't seen me online much. I usually try to go into some of the chats. You'll see me make comments, but you don't see me online because I work during the day. I usually have Saturday off, which is one of my first, one of my regular days that's off. And Friday, sometimes is also a day off, in which case today is technically a day off. But the thing is, the day off for Rick is still a work day because I'm going to be here at the house. There's certain things I have to do. One thing I need to do, I need to go to the store and I need to see what kind of meat I can find marked down because my cat's almost out of food. And also for myself, I don't have that much chicken left. I think I may have a couple of chicken legs from the last package I got. I think Fresco y Mas has it for 78 cents a pound. So we'll go ahead and grab that. But so what I'm going to do, a lot of other carnivores, most of the carnivores online, they like to drink coffee. So they'll have their coffee mug with the coffee in it. But since I live in Miami, where we only get 14 days of nice weather, and today's one of them, I got up this morning, it was 55 degrees. Very nice. But you know what that means. By Sunday, it's going to be 85 degrees or maybe 90 degrees. So enjoy it while you got it. That's all I can say. Now, because I live in a hot tropical climate where the weather is 99% of the time awful, instead of having hot coffee that just makes you feel nasty, I don't live where we actually have seasons. Our seasons are hot and dry and hot and wet. And now it's just like somebody, for the few days that they had money, they turned on the air conditioner. So that's what we have now. My air conditioner is off, which is the first time that it never. Well, I ran it last night because the main window in my bedroom, does not have a screen in it. The screen got damaged years ago. When I was a kid, there used to be a room air conditioner in here. My dad butchered the screen, and then I just kept trying to do something, and that's it. So anyway, what I did, I replaced the glass I put in there actually came from a broken solar panel that we had because they butchered the window. It's a long story. But anyway, here I am in the room, and the only thing I have my little neon lights on, and the other lights are off. The windows are, very nice. I can look outside. I can see my beautiful garden. So eventually, hopefully in the near future, if I go to the yard sale and I might be able to find a better computer. I might be able to find some more cameras. I might be able to find a way because what I want to do, I want to have a system that is powerful enough that I can have I can show you different documents and different scenes and stuff like that. It'll run the OBS studio, which I still have to figure out how to use, but I'll figure it out eventually. I may not be the most savvy when it comes to software, but I am technically savvy enough. And this is one of the reasons why I work what I do. So let me take a sip of my ice water. There you go. So I can get that slurping sound that somewhat annoys me when people do their coffee. But the thing about ice water is that unlike coffee, which you can put on a warmer, the ice water, it only stays cold as long as it has ice in it. And if you happen to be out in our weather, it won't be that long. Now, for those of you that like coffee, go ahead and drink your coffee because just because I don't like it doesn't mean that you can't have it. That's one of the best things about Rick's heart attack diet. You see, the heart attack diet doesn't depend on you following the heart attack diet. All it depends on is you doing your thing, enjoying your life until one day your time runs out and you're going to fall over. I used to say, I used to sing about that when I was a kid. My favorite song as a kid was one called Sunday Will Never Be the Same. And I rerouted, I sort of reworded it into you're going to have a heart attack and you're going to fall right down and you won't be coming back. So that was the whole idea. So you want to enjoy your life. If your life involves coffee, drink your coffee. If your life involves duck food, eat your duck food. Waddle around and quack. Go over there to the Wawa or to the 7-Eleven or any of these other crappy places that everybody likes to go to and drink your poison sugar water and have your duck food and breathe hard and go like a Muscovy duck and waddle around. You'll have your big old gut sticking out. Hey, at least you won't have to worry about anybody hitting on you. I mean, think about it. Most people are unattractive, and that's a good thing. I know a lot of these YouTubers, there's actually what they call a looks maxing community, usually younger guys, but some of the older ones too. And they're trying to encourage people to be in better shape and to be healthier, and which is a good thing. But a lot of people get intimidated when they get around other people that are more attractive than they are. And I joke about that because I don't get intimidated by anybody. Everyone's more attractive than me. at least in their own mind. So I'm not going to get intimidated by that. It's just like here on YouTube. I have one of the smallest YouTube channels, although I have the best subscribers. So I can't say that that is a problem because we're an elite group. But the thing is, a lot of times when you're the elite group, you may be understood. If you're at the top, they may look at you as some kind of, you know, evil group. But when you're, like me at the bottom, no one really cares. And I'm sort of a novelty because you see somebody that's 6'6", you don't see that every day. And they go, well, this guy's a little on the wacky side, which I am. Hey, that's the way it is. But anyway, okay, let's take a look over here at some of these comments. Now I have 29 people, so that's good. Now, one of the things that you might notice is that I only go once a week, and I don't think I'm going to be going online tomorrow because I will be at the yard sales, although I may come on later. The reason I'm doing these morning things is because, most of us are probably from the YouTube channel of our friend Mitch over there, the old guy carnivore, who is also somewhat antisocial, although I think in my case, I'm not antisocial. I just tend to be alone by choice because a lot of people do tend to avoid me. But on the other hand, here on YouTube, I see that I have about 30 people that have taken their time in the morning to listen to me or watch me. You're probably better off listening to me. My voice is a lot more pleasant than looking at my camera and seeing me with these really old headphones that I got from the garbage, an old microphone, and paneling that should have been changed about 40 years ago. But anyway, and I was also looking online. We used to have Mopar shows up in Hollywood. They usually have one of these Mopar shows around this time of the year at the University Dodge. I know they had one last year, which I couldn't go to, of course, because my vehicle was broken. And I have a couple of friends that are into cars. So what I was thinking about is I don't know if it would be this Sunday. If it is, maybe we'll go there. Maybe I'll try to make a video from there. But yesterday, when we were coming back from a job, I actually saw somebody with a really run down, but mostly intact 1968 Charger. And I think the guy said he was 60 years old. So he's a few years older than me, although he did look a lot different, not as tall and kind of out of shape. But he was driving around in this thing and he had some problems with it. He asked me some questions. And of course, when it comes to 1968 to 1970 Chargers, I consider myself to be one of the experts because I drove the things for decades. And you have to realize that I've broken down many, many, many times. I've had to do roadside repairs. I've had to diagnose problems. And I know these cars better than anybody else. And I tell everybody, the number one source of problems with any antique car is the gas tank. The gas tanks are steel. They like to rust on the inside. Rust gets into your fuel. It clogs your fuel pump and your carburetor and makes a mess out of your car. So that's the number one thing. And of course, these cars like to rust. They're old. They wear out. The rubber parts and plastic parts fail. So it's only a matter of time. But anyway, let's check these comments. I see a lot of good mornings. I see we have our usual people here. We got somebody new, and there's a lot of them. Now we have Boomer McGeezer, Friday. There we go. Paul McGrogan, good morning. Father of Unlimited Carnivore, good morning. Rick, and everyone from Melbourne, Florida. Sandy Blythe, good morning. We have Valerie Thompson, good morning, all. Does anyone know how Old Guy Carnivore Mitch is doing? No, I got a message from Ellen Scooby a few days ago, but I haven't had one since. As far as I know, he's still in the hospital, and I think he may be in the rehabilitation, maybe in the nursing home. I'm not sure, but he might still be in the hospital. I will keep you posted if I find out any information. I see also that Erin Booby Goats is here. Hello. Now, she was not able to do her morning coffee, so I figured we'll do the Rick's morning ice water. Yes, I know it was a parody, but that's the way it is. Lori's Carnivore Story says quack, quack, and I say quack, quack back. Good morning. Little Rickies, we should have something from here's something from Ellen today, as Mitch would have had his test yesterday. Okay, good. So when you hear anything, let us know. I can't wait for yard sale season here. Good morning. I love treasure hunting from Booby Goats, and we go down the line here. I don't know who Joey is, but okay, maybe I'm out of touch. Retired Rick is here, and hi, Lori and Booby Goats. Yes, morning, Retired Rick. I said morning to him a little bit later. And Josephine C. says howdy. Okay, we have more back and forth. And Lori's Carnivore Story says Rick never technically takes a day off. And that is very true. I am always busy. And Booby Goat says make a video, make a store video, Rick. Those are So fun. Duck food. Yes, I do it when I can. Rick, you keep answering my questions as you talk. That's me. I can't stop talking. My mouth will not stop until I'm putting food in it. And then I try not to talk when I'm doing that. And how's everyone doing? How you doing? Morning, Lewis. Okay. And let's see. We have jumped over here. And let's see if we can get back there. And we got a question. I think we have a question. How's everyone doing? Yes, how you doing? Great, great, great. Sorry, Rick, I slurp a lot. Yeah, they all do. That is part of drinking coffee. Rick, how is South Florida today? From Lewis. The weather is awesome. This is an excellent day. The temperature is perfect. The sun is out. It's beautiful. That's why I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, maybe an hour, and then I will go outside. But thanks for asking, and I'm glad you're here. We have 30 people still. Oh, we have 31 now. That's even better. Okay, so we got some more comments, and I heard you slurp. Yeah, okay. Morning, Lewis. How are you and your kitties? Oh, speaking of kitties, I'm going to open the door pretty soon. Cats are great. Have to go to the office today, but I am still home. Not moving very fast today. Yay, we're still okay. Wacky and quacky. That's my life. Your headphones are stellar, man. Well, if you like old Sansui headphones, then you will. Good morning. My notification came in late, and Phil Grandma says hello, and I say hello back. And Lori's Carnivore Story says, not true, Rick. It's just as nice to see you as it is to hear you. Well, thank you very much. And we got some highs over here. And let's see, from Ellen last night. Mitch update. His heart is 100% fine. Excellent. Per Mike, he has moved to the acute rehab unit within the hospital. Okay, good. And therapies. Great. So he's not in the nursing home. He's still in the hospital. Rick, any flywheels in your future? Not yet. I've contacted all my friends. As soon as I can get my hands on one, I will make a video out of it. I'll show you the compression test and getting the engine ready to put in the truck. Okay, and we got some more hellos and back and forths. And Lewis, that's great news. Mini update Thursday PM. Current plan is 2-week minimum in the current acute rehab unit. Okay, with goal of discharge home to continue therapy. Now, again, let's all keep Mitch in mind, and we know that he will be back online. But if he can't go every day, let's not put any pressure on him. He is recovering, and yes, he is old, and he admits it. It is in the name Old Guy Carnivore. He is not a 20-something. So whatever he can do, we will support him and let him know that no matter what, we will be there when he goes online. Even if he goes online for 1 day a week, that is fine. That's pretty much what I like to do 1 day a week because I'm always busy. Okay, I'm getting caught up here, and I see that that is great. Morning, Jeff. Those are all the updates on Mitch. Okay, good. That's great. Prayers for Mitch. That's right, and I'll drink to that. There you go. Two can play at that game. Now I know that when it comes to the morning coffee. There are several of them out there. There are several morning chats. And the thing is, I just want to get everyone together so at least we have a common place to go to. Now, again, when Mitch comes back, then you can switch over to his stream. Now, graciously, he has moved his stream to 9:30. So when I go on Saturday, you can still catch me at 8 o'clock. I always like to get up early. I do a lot more in the morning than I do at other times, but I work consistently all day. And this is actually something that some of the people I work with, they actually mention now. Our last job, we were trying to finish up a condo that a friend of mine had taken on, painting and doing some cabinet work and finishing and stuff like that. But whenever you do one of those sort of cosmetic jobs, there's always the little things that need to be fixed. And I get called when there's things that other people can't figure out. For example, electrical issues, issues with plumbing, issues with things just not fitting, things that do weird things, technical issues, IT, and stuff like that. And what I had to do over there was move a couple of outlets. I had one outlet that they had actually pulled out of the wall because today drywall seems to be everything they use. And a lot of times they'll use these outlet boxes that have a couple of screw holes in there. They may be a metal box, but they're only screwed into one of those channel studs, and they flop around. So what I do I get some plywood or some treated wood pieces, or in this case, since it's condo, I use steel and I put in a steel channel behind the drywall, put some screws in it, screw in the box, and make it so it's nice and sturdy. So if they're going to pull that out, they're going to pull the whole wall with it. And then the usual touch up, the cracks and stuff like that. And it's interesting because a lot of these people, you get in one of these apartments or condos, and I think a lot of times the tenants that owned it, or maybe the previous owners that rented it out to people, when they have a hole in the drywall or whatever, they'll get somebody to fix it. And I've seen some incredible things done. Well, this one took the cake because there was a bulge in the wall the customer was complaining about, and it was probably half an inch out. So I thought, okay, I'll cut out the piece of drywall and I'll replace it. I've done that many times. Well, when I cut the piece out, I found out that not only had somebody stuffed a bunch of newspaper in there, but they also used some kind of spray foam. And then they covered it up with layers of drywall compound. And of course, over time, it got lumpy and bumpy. And when they tried to slide one of these dressers up against the wall, there was probably an inch gap on both ends, and then the middle was touching. And it's like anything else. You try to work in one of these stupid condos, you only have a certain amount of work hours. So, you can work from like 9 to 3:30 or something like that, and then you have to be out of there by 4. So you're trying to get this stuff done, and you have to do whatever you're going to do. Then you got to wait till the next day. So one day you got to go there, do the work you can, and then when you're dealing with drywall, you got to put that stupid joint compound on there, or what they call drywall mud, and that takes a while to dry. So you're going to have to come back the next day. Now the problem is all these Miami Beach condos, when Dade County was basically, um, it's planned for profit. So what it is, you're not building a place where quality of life is number one. What you're doing is stack and pack. It's like my garage. My garage is so full of stuff. When I open the door, it is deadly. You make one wrong move and the stuff's going to be pouring out on you. And that's the way Miami is. So what they did, they took what used to be motels, 2 and 3 story, mid-century, cool looking motels, tore them all down and build these 20, 30-story monster apartment buildings with a bunch of condos in there. And there's only 2 roads that go east and west. So what do you think happens when all these people want to go to work or they want to go somewhere? Yeah, the traffic is just nonstop. So even though we leave at 4 o'clock, I don't get here till 7 o'clock. 3 hours sitting in traffic just to go from Kendall to Miami Beach. Now, you tell me that that's quality living, and I'll tell you you're crazy because it is not quality living. Now, on the other hand, you know, here at the house, when I can work from home, I'm a happy camper because people bring me stuff. Most of the jobs that I do are over there in horse country or even Homestead. Now, Homestead is getting crowded, but I can actually drive from here to, let's say, Hendry County, where my lot is, faster than I could go from here to Miami Beach. So people ask me, Rick, why don't you ever go to the beach? Well, because it's not worth it. Why would I go there? And what is the beach down here? It's nothing but a strip of sand. There is no wildlife whatsoever. It's not like you can go fishing. There's no iguanas there. There's nothing there. There's a lot of tourists and a lot of old people. And it's just, there's nothing to do. Yeah, you want to go in the ocean, whatever. Now, I have friends in the Keys, and I have friends further upstate. I have a friend that his house, the backyard is the ocean. So if I wanted to go to the beach, I just have to drive up to Hollywood, and I can go there. Why in the world would I want to go to Miami Beach? And then now you have the spring break or whatever. Miami Beach turns into a ghetto. And you can see they're trying to chase everybody out of there because the crime has become unmanageable. So again, doing these jobs, I don't mind actually doing the job, but getting there and back is a bit of a mission. And I don't feel really happy when I'm in that area because, as you probably know, I don't like high rises. I think that they are ugly, and I think that they destroy the character of the area. Now, if you were to live in New York City or some old city that has skyscrapers, some of these buildings are actually kind of nice to look at. They have some style to them. But everything they've built here in the last 50 years has about the same style as a trash can. It's basically just designed to maximize space. You want to cram as many people in there as possible and orient them in such a way that they can look at something that's not going to make them feel sick. Like in New York City, sometimes you look at it out the window and you see the side of another building. What they do, they try to position the high rises in such a way where they can maybe see part of the ocean, or in many cases, they just see the building next door. But still, that's one of those things. Now, one of the things that I tell people is that you always want to go quality over quantity. You don't want to go quantity over quality because then you end up with Miami. So the thing about Miami, if you are rich and you have a lot of money to spend, you can grab one of the last pieces of old Florida. But if you're not rich, you're probably going to be living in the back of somebody's house, living in a shed, or maybe living under the bridge, like a lot of people here do as well. Now, in terms of the things you can control, I am living proof that you can be poor and still have a relatively good life because, like the people I work with, when we're doing these repair jobs and so on, within a couple of hours, I'm hearing complaints about back and feet and, arms hurt and all that stuff. Energy goes up and down. Around lunchtime, they all got to run down to the convenience store to get the latest duck food, to have a soda. And most of the people I know, when they get up in the morning, they start their morning with a coffee. Very important. Now, I'm not saying that coffee is bad. If you like it, go for it. And I think if you live in a cold climate, you probably benefit from drinking something warm. But if you live in basically a hot zone like here, we have 14 days of good weather out of a year, and I think we're on number 9 or 10. So this will probably be the end of our cool weather. And at the end of the year, we may get 4 days of cool weather. That's usually the way it is. Most of the time. Now, today I could have gone outside and done the video, but the problem is that my computer has the webcam stuck to the top of it. So I'd have to take this thing outside, run an Ethernet cable to it, and an extension cord. The wind is not blowing, thankfully. But then again, with everyone going to work early in the morning, the cars driving by, there's a lot of traffic noise. So I figured it's better to be in here inside the house. Now, one thing I did notice in a lot of these high-rise condos and stuff like that, the acoustics is not very good. So I could imagine somebody trying to do a video like this from one of those buildings where you have drywall everywhere and you have hard floors and so on. It would be like doing a video from a cave. And I do see a lot of the YouTubers that do that. And that's probably why a lot of them do it from their car. When you see the Miami scammers on there trying to tell you about how their secret program is going to make you a millionaire, you're going to be making $100,000 a month. They always do it from their rented Lamborghini. And that's probably because these condos are just so echoey that you couldn't make a good video even if you tried. And what really annoys me about a lot of them, especially the younger ones, instead of getting a proper microphone with a stand, they get the little tiny lav mic that they would normally put here, and they talk like this with the stupid little lav mic. It's so stupid. And they move around. I don't know if it's something they do to get attention, but to me, it just seems stupid. And it really does annoy me because I'm thinking, okay, if you're making that much money every month, you should be able to invest in a proper studio setup. You have that overpriced condo, which, by the way, you probably rent, because if you actually owned it, you would buy some foam and stick it to the wall, maybe in your closet. I mean, is a place really that small that you can't set up your own little studio? Or you might just put portable panels. You could do that too. You can actually buy those acoustical panels. They're basically foam with cloth over them, and you can put them around you. Hey, you could probably even get an old ball chair like they used to have back in the 60s. If you've ever seen that show, The Prisoner, number 2 always came up in this ball chair, and it has foam or padding around the inside of it. And you can put a microphone in front of you, and you can have pretty good sound. But nope, you're not going to do that. So, I go there in that area. It's the same thing with the Brickell Avenue area. Every time that I've had to do work there, you see a lot of these younger guys that live there. And I know a lot of them are doing YouTube. And I guess they're out there scamming people for some crazy crypto scam because now Miami is the crypto capital of the United States. Whenever there's a good scam, it's always going to come to Miami. And it's like an old friend of mine used to say, when you're looking at an investment, when you hit the Miami moment, it's time to get out. So he said, "What is a Miami?" I said, "What's a Miami moment?" That he said. And he says, "That's when everybody's going to Miami to promote the product." Just like they did back in the 80s with the real estate bubble and, in the 90s. And now you see them promoting cryptocurrency. So it's only a matter of time before the whole thing crashes. And then you see the Miami people go away, just like it did in the year 2000 when the city of Miami actually went bankrupt because people just took off. When they had the dot-com bubble, it all blew up. Because again, people, they take their money, they either steal it in a foreign country or they get it from the market or they get it from somewhere else. They run to Miami, and then it's a competition to show who can show off the most. Who's got the most this or that, and who's got the ability to con the most people. And that's really what it is. So, anyway, if you are one of those people that likes to watch these Miami scammers, just remember they're all in it for what? The money. That's all they care about. They don't care about you. All they care about is themselves, maybe whatever women they can find, and of course, the money. Because when you have money, it doesn't matter how much of a crook you are, how annoying you are. Eventually, you will get people around you and you'll be able to have whatever you want as long as you have the money to pay them off. And one thing I have noticed is that the people that do have money, all the ones that I've done work for or known, the vast majority of them are really what I would consider to be below average intelligence. You know how most people get money down here? They inherit it. And I've seen it over and over and over again. Now, people who are able to create a business that actually produces real things and get rich, they're just the opposite. They're really interesting to talk to because they have a lot of knowledge. And I get inspired by them. But when I see a lot of these people out there that are spending money here in Miami, and I look at them and you talk to them, they tend to be sort of hyperactive. They look like they're on some kind of drug, which being in Miami, I'm sure they are. And they just always seem to be anxious. There's always something bothering them. There's somebody cut them off in traffic, or they look at somebody and they get mad or whatever. They're all the same way because they're entitled. Most of them have probably grown up in a rich family. They got whatever they wanted. So when there's any kind of obstacle, they're going to get mad and they're going to criticize people and so on. But the funny thing is, when they run into a problem they can't solve, who do they call? Well, they call us poor people, the ones that have experience in fixing problems. And I've had to deal with many of them. And again, it's just one of those things. A lot of them, they like to play games with you. They don't want to pay you, but I avoid them. But the good ones, there's some good ones out there. And there are a few that are, that they've inherited money and they're still relatively good people, but it is pretty rare. And again, if somebody comes to Miami, that's usually kind of telling who they are because this is not the kind of place that attracts quality people. If you do find quality people here, they were generally born and raised here. And the vast majority of people I know that were born and raised here have left. And strangely enough, they always do better. So everybody I know that's left Miami has done better in the place that they've gone to. Even if they've gone to a place that is severely depressed, they still seem to do better. So anyway, let's see. We don't have too many comments. We have a few. I see we have a few people that came in. Let's see. Jeff Streslek is here. Lizzie and Jerry Hall 350. Dan in Boston. Let's see. Okay. Carnivore Keith is here, and he said hello to Terry. And let's see. Who else? Michael Pregler. Yes. We've been catching your videos. There you go. So she's been doing one. I figured since she was out, I'd take her place. Okay, and like I was in the hospital for a couple of days last year. I ate burger patties and eggs. They brought them for every meal, not a problem. I guess some hospitals are just more competent than others. I really hope I never have to be in the hospital. I hope that when I have my heart attack, I'm going to drop dead very, very quickly. The only thing that I have that might require a hospital visit, I've had a bit of a hernia since I got into a major car accident several years back. It doesn't really bother me. It pops out from time to time and I'll push it back in, but it doesn't really have any pain. So I don't know what to say about that. But the idea of being in a hospital, I really hate hospitals. I used to like the old fashioned 1950s hospitals that had windows and they had that 50s look, but they've all been either demolished or remodeled into unrecognition. And I find that hospitals have everything in them is ugly, and you have a lot of sick people in there. So I think in many ways it would be very, very bad. But anyway, if I have to, I have to, right? It's one thing I can't fix myself. I don't think you can do surgery on yourself. And contrary to popular belief, the carnivore diet doesn't fix everything. If you've got some major injury, I just can't imagine it being rebuilt. It takes time for everything to heal. I get little scratches here and there. I've had myself cut open. I've had to stitch myself, but I don't think that I would cut myself open and try to fix that. So I'm not going to do that. This is not like doing body work on a car. You can't just weld in another piece. But what I'll probably do, I'll just live with it. Maybe when I get to be 65 and I got Medicare, if it still exists, which the way the world is going, it may not. Then again, the world itself may not exist. They may have a nuclear war by then. Hmm. Okay. Anyway, okay, let's see what we got here. I don't know how people do these live streams every day. I'm going to go back to 1 day a week. Yes, these are hard to do. Nothing to talk about. Unlike you, Rick, who could talk forever. And that is one thing about me. A lot of people that don't know me, they may see somebody as being shy and quiet. I don't say much. But the thing is, it's like I was told years ago. I act a lot like a person who's intelligent, even though I'm not. What intelligent people often do, they will keep their mouths shut. And we don't like small talk. I do not like small talk. So, a lot of times I will just talk about things that I've done. People will talk about things like TV shows and sports teams and stuff like that. And I just basically tune them out. I really don't see the point of it. Now, if they're talking to me about some car they're building, or maybe they're doing something in their house and maybe their garden, then I'll talk about that. And I've had people talk about going hunting and fishing, and I'll talk about that too because those are things I'm interested in. But if I'm not interested in it, why in the world would I want to talk about it? That's the problem. All right, let's see here. We have me too car wreck in my belly. See, these accidents can cause all kinds of problems. And Michael Pregler says snowing right now, getting 4 inches today. Wow. It hasn't snowed here since 1977, and it was barely at all. Lizzie says I would do surgery on myself. When I'm in doctor, I pull IV out. Just got a call. I can't do that. Yeah, it's done. Right? Is that ice water from the tap? No, that's actually either rainwater or well water. I guess that technically the tap is connected to a well, so that would be tap water. But I normally drink well water or rainwater. Now, it hasn't rained much, so this is actually from the well. I only have a basic water filter on the refrigerator. That's where the water comes from. Okay. I'm off to bed. Early morning. Enjoy your beautiful day night. Well, thank you, Josephine C. Enjoy your night and sleep well. And hopefully you'll have some good dreams. And Mark Booz says, good morning. And I say, good morning from Rick. I'm off to bed early morning. Enjoy your beautiful day night. Yes. Okay. I read that. Good morning. Time to go shopping. Great day, everyone. I need to go shopping also. I need to go 3 stores. And since the weather's so nice, I might just use the bicycle like I often do. The way the traffic is around here, this time shouldn't be too bad. But, before 10, the traffic can be a real nightmare. So if I'm going to go to like Aldi or Fresco y Mas or whatever, I'll probably use a bicycle. The middle of the day, I'll usually drive there. Later on in the day, after 4 o'clock, it's back to the bicycle. So that's good. Okay, and Booby Goats has well water. Well, of course, if you're in the country, you have well water, and Sandy Blythe has well water. That's good. And I see some good mornings. That's good. And down in Boston by Michael. All right. So, anyway, let's see. Yay, more bike and talk. Yes, I can do that. I know some people seem to like my bike and talk videos. I started doing that just out of sort of a parody of the vegan guy. There's a vegan guy out there. He's called Durian Rider. If you know anything about fruit, durian is nasty. So I can't imagine anybody would want to eat that crap. But he is into cycling and all that. And, he believes that you shouldn't eat fat and you shouldn't eat protein. So he just eats carbohydrates. He's kind of skinny, but I think he used steroids or something to put on some muscle. So anyway, but in my case, we don't use supplements here. It's only meat and water and eggs when I can get it. Now, one of my viewers was nice enough to get me a Sam's Club membership. So I'm going to try to get over there maybe tomorrow or the next day and see if I can get some eggs. I've gone the entire week without eggs. I haven't had eggs since last Friday. So it's been 7 days with no eggs. And, what can I do? So it's just one of those things. Now I noticed that the raccoon situation has returned to this neighborhood on Wednesday night when I got back from work. My friend needed to have an engine move from one truck to the other. So I took my Bobcat out front. And when I was moving stuff around, I saw 5 raccoons. It was like a whole group of them coming through the neighborhood. So, what I'm going to have to do, sadly, since the raccoon situation has not improved and my ducks have left again, I'm going to have to get my crossbow, or I'm going to see if I can get a decent air rifle, and I'm going to take out those raccoons. They start coming in my yard, they're fair game. And if you see me with a Davy Crockett style hat, then you will know that I have taken care of the raccoon problem. I've moved 2 of them out of here. I've tried to be nice to them, but they are a serious problem and they have to go. So, any of you animal lovers out there, if you want raccoons, you need to come around here with the traps and get them. But they are multiplying and they are a nightmare. I've had raccoons get into the attic. They are very destructive. They also get into the garbage. They tip over garbage cans. And typically, you'll see them on Monday. You'll see them like Sunday night or Wednesday night because they pick up the garbage Monday and Thursday. So the raccoons will come here. I don't know where they're coming from because we do not have any wildland left. They may be living at the park, possibly. I don't know where they're coming from. They swim very well. They may be coming from the empty lot on the other side of the canal. But whatever it is, this is the reason why the duck situation, we're losing ducks right and left in the neighborhood. Now, I went to another neighborhood north of here, and there's a lot of ducks there. So the ducks may have been moving around. So now the raccoon problem will sort of go out if they don't have access to garbage. But the problem is, especially around this time of the year, like the end of the year when they had the holidays, they had days off when there was no garbage pickup. And the raccoons are really smart. They're able to open the garbage cans. We have these green cans with the lid that truck can dump so they don't have to use the other garbage cans. We used to use the metal cans with the tight fitting lid, and the raccoons, they figured out how to get into that. But yeah, they have become a problem. And again, unless we take active measures, they will take over the neighborhood and they will be a major problem. I hate to say it. But anyway, all right. So I don't want to talk too much about that. I don't want people to be run off, but I see some comments about raccoons. And okay, we're talking about well water, water filter, bike and talk. Did you find the flywheel? Brian says, no, not yet. I'm still looking. And little bike and talk. I used to drill waters wells with my ex. Oh, Lizzie, I guess you had a drill truck or something like that. Yeah, I had a neighbor that had that, did well drilling. Most of the wells here are for irrigation. We just take a galvanized pipe and a weight and pound it in the ground. I actually made a well driller for my Bobcat out of the auger. I used that to make a water well years ago. Okay. We had to put a new pump on our well last year. Oh man, it was like $2,500. It's a lot of money for a submersible pump. Oh well, I'd get what I can. I've seen them for like $300 or $400. I don't know how good they are. Okay, raccoon issues here as well. The whole process is really cool to watch. Yeah, drilling wells. A lot of times you'll use bentonite clay, which is like a mud, and you pump water into the drill bit as you're drilling the well. The water comes up. You dig a little catch basin so you can recycle the mud. Okay. Raccoons are definitely nasty. Yes. Yes to their little paws, reach out and try to grab people. Here's a question from an unknown source. What's Rick's thoughts on Bitcoin? Not the price, but the protocol. All right. I think it's a great thing. I was an early adopter of Bitcoin. I used to watch a guy on YouTube called Max Kaiser, and that was about the time of the crash in 2008. And he was the first person that mentioned Bitcoin. I had never heard of it before. It was worth a few cents, I guess, originally. And then over time, it became more and more valuable. I started to use it, and I was using it to buy stuff from overseas. Now, a lot of people were using it to buy illegal stuff through, a part of the web they called the Silk Road. I don't know if you remember that. So Bitcoin was sort of like magic internet money that you could use to buy things that may or may not have been legal. I was typically buying things like hydraulic fittings and parts, so it was kind of nice. And I stopped around 2012 when I had a power surge and a car hard drive crash. Now, again, the concept of a blockchain and the concept of cryptocurrency to me has always been a good one. And I think many ways it's something that we need to explore. Now, the problem with Bitcoin is that the blockchain, the transactions take time to do. And as the system grows, since the amount of Bitcoin is fixed, more and more of the Bitcoins are lost. I lost 20 of them myself with the hard drive crash. So $200 went down the drain. Imagine what they're worth now. I think about that sometimes. It's just not a good thing. But anyway, I I think that in our carnivore space, if I have my way, I would like to have a cryptocurrency which would be redeemable for something like meat or eggs. And then you could earn that currency either by managing transactions or by doing actual work. So if you could get enough people in the agricultural industry to support that, you could trade products or services through this cryptocurrency. I am against Bitcoin now because it has been taken over by the Wall Street and the central bankers. And I think they're going to use that eventually as a way to either strengthen their system or create something new. And I think what will happen is this: Bitcoin will continue to be a source where people can go in there and throw money in and get money out and so on. What they always do with all of these investment ideas, they rely on people being scammed, because you have to realize that the people at the top, the ones who benefit from all of these financial systems, and anyone that calls themselves financier or into finance, in my opinion, is a parasite, because the whole goal of finance is to provide some type of capital that people can use for business or pleasure. And obviously, if you're going to provide capital for pleasure, that asset is going to decrease in value, and therefore the person has to have an income from somewhere else to do that. But if you're going to provide, let's say, financing for a company to build things or buy things or whatever, that company has to go out there and then produce a profit from something else. So you basically have a system that has to constantly inflate over time, because in order to finance somebody, if let's say that you had a business, let's say that you dug ditches for a living and you're using a pick and a shovel, you could dig one ditch a day. But then somebody is selling a trencher that costs maybe $10,000. You don't have $10,000. So you go to somebody and you say, you know what? I'd like to borrow $10,000 because if I had that machine, I could dig 5 ditches a day instead of one. So I'm going to double, I'm going to quadruple, quintuple my profit. And as long as you have enough customers that need your services, that works. So you can borrow the $10,000, you can, do your trenching, and then at the end of a term period, you could pay them back with the profit you made. And that works out really well. But the problem is that our system is not like that. Our system is actually leveraged. People borrow money to buy back stock in their own company. And to make matters worse, the governments create money out of nothing to buy back their own debt, which is called a bond. And then that way they can manipulate the interest rates, because the value of a bond depends on what a person will pay for it. And if nobody wants to buy a bond that's going to lose value and the government just buys it, they can lower the interest rates to zero. And with the interest rates low, then all these companies can simply buy back their own stock. They can issue new stock and buy it back and cause the value to go to whatever they want. So it really is a giant scam. And I think that the whole Bitcoin thing is, from what I remember, was to get around that. When the Federal Reserve created all that money back in 2008 to bail out the system, then Bitcoin was like a rebellion to that. My fear is this: I think that Bitcoin was actually created by people in the system. And I think it's only a matter of time before either quantum computing or some hidden code they have in there knocks out the algorithm and it becomes worthless. And that would be really nice because if you think about it, all these people that have become Bitcoin billionaires or millionaires or whatever they are, all these young people that are riding around in Lamborghinis and renting overpriced condos in Miami are going to get wiped out instantly. The sad thing is that a lot of people are going to get wiped out with the investments that they have. You have companies, I think one company called MicroStrategies or whatever, their whole business model is just to buy Bitcoin. And when that goes down, it'll be wiped out. But Bitcoin goes through cycles. It has its up cycle, then it has its Bitcoin winter. It's up and down, but it's always been up, down, up, down, up, down. It always goes up more than it goes down. But eventually, that's not going to be the case, and it will implode. And no, Bitcoin will not end the Fed because the Fed is the true power center of all governments. And even if the Fed was ended, technically, they would come up with something else in its place. Because the thing is, without central bankers, this parasite system will die. Because then it comes down to what can you produce? Are you a person that can actually solve problems, produce food, make things work? Then you have value. If you're a person that does absolutely nothing and sits around all day on a beach while you harvest somebody else's work, you are now a liability. So, as a parasite, and this is one of the reasons why they want us eating duck food, because people that eat duck food are dependent. They don't realize that they have any power to do anything. So, what they're going to do, they're going to sit around all the time. They're going to be sick and they're going to complain about their health. They're going to go to the medical system and they're going to ask for, whatever. They might have heart disease, they might have cancer, they might just have aches and pains. And then they're going to depend on the pharmaceutical system. And because the system we have is predatory, anything that you would need to live your life has to be expensive. That's why the cost of housing is so expensive. That's why medications are so expensive. Because what they're doing, they're creating dependence. And then they create systems to take advantage of the dependence. And then they push it like it's something good. If you're actually going out there and making money from producing real things, you're an idiot. You're a fool. You're going to work for the man. You're doing nothing. But if you could sit around and trade Bitcoin or play games with real estate or the stock market or some other crap, then you're smarter than everybody else. But the problem is you're just a pawn in their game. What they're going to do, they're going to use you for as long as they can. And they will let you have some wealth. That's it, because you're taking advantage of so many other people. Every time you see one of those people selling some kind of course, some kind of program or whatever, there's thousands of people behind them that are financing that. You have all these YouTubers out there. They always have some motivation crap. They have some type of system. I make all this money. And you'll notice they never tell you exactly what they do. But I can tell you what they do. They scam you. By selling you their system, that's where they get their money from. So what they do, it's like this guy, I remember it was an Asian guy back in the 80s or 90s. I think it was called Tom Lee or something like that. And he would get on a rented yacht. He had a McMansion, a bunch of bimbos, and he'd talk about how smart he was. And then you had the other guy, that Don Lapre, with his tiny classified ads, and you had Carlton Sheets real estate course, and then you had the motivational speakers. Now some of them are still around. I mean, obviously you have Anthony Robbins, he's still around. He looks pretty good for his age too, so he must have done something right. But you have a lot of these people that they use this. And nowadays you have the 20 somethings. They're all over the place. They're all here in Miami. They all have some fitness and money making course that you can take. And I always say this is Rick's system. If they make so much money, why do they need your money? Think about that. Why in the world, if you were making a lot of money from a business, would you want competition? Of course not. If I was making money for doing nothing, sitting around all day, I'm going to tell nobody. Of course, in my case, I wouldn't even spend the money where people could see it. I'd save the money and buy a big ranch with it. I would have all kinds of investments, but I'd still drive around in my beat up old car. Although you may see me with the restored 69 Charger if that was the case. But anyway, yeah, so I tell people, please don't fall for them. They will always fail you. I don't care how good their program is. I don't care how good they're recommended. If they're out there and they have a membership or they have some type of insider club or they have some investment group they're going to take from you, you're always going to lose in the long run. It's like going to a casino. You may win short term, but you are going to lose. This is the way it is. And the thing is, in my case, and I believe this since I was a teenager, and I think it may have had something to do with the carnivore diet, because once my mind was full of all the fat and protein, I think I woke up. Because when I was a kid, I didn't see it. But I started to see these people in the 80s. And, obviously, I know a lot of people, they love Donald Trump and all that. But I saw him as one of them. My dad used to call him the fish because of the way he talks. He talks like this. And that was just a symptom. This is somebody who was using their name and hype to get people to invest in them. Now, he was smart enough to be able to structure his business so that when the businesses failed, as they always did, he was able to get out without losing everything. And you got to give him credit for that. But a lot of these people that you see today, and every one of them, and this is true also of celebrities in general, the movie stars, the sports figures, and so on. Now, they have to actually put out something to get money, but the amount of money they get back is a lot more than the effort and time they put into it. Now, the problem is because they serve others, if they mess up and they're no longer needed, it's like the system uses you as long as it can. When you are no longer beneficial to the system, they throw you out. You see this with the veterans, for example. They will use them to fight their wars. But then when they're no longer necessary, they're dumped on the street. And it doesn't matter. And you'll see this with celebrities. They'll tolerate them for a period of time. But generally, celebrities, once they have a lot of wealth, they have all this to work with. You know what ends up happening? It goes to their head. And then they begin to see themselves as being somehow more valuable than everybody else. And then sooner or later, they wear out their welcome. And then what happens? Well, you see the story, such and such person, they they're an alcoholic or they got in drugs. A lot of them die young because they have an overdose and stuff like that. So again, anyone that looks up to these people is going to be disappointed always. I don't care who it is, sports figures, celebrities, whatever. And if you're looking to these so-called gurus to make money, you're going to be disappointed because you will lose everything. And I remember when I was younger, I would attend these so-called free conferences and I listen to what they have to say, and then I realize it's a scam. And I would always time myself. How long did it take me to figure out that this so-called guru was a scammer? And usually it was within 5 minutes. I don't think I ever went to one, and I don't remember even the names of all the ones I went to because they were always here, especially here in Miami. That was one of the places they like to go to. You see the infomercial, and then how to make money in tax deeds. Okay, I already know about that. And the thing is, how to make money in real estate. Well, yeah, it depends on who is your funding source. And again, there's always survivorship bias. You may have a few people that try these programs and they end up making money, but then they'll go out there, they'll get paid. A lot of times it's like a pyramid scheme. It's like multi-level marketing. You have YouTube channels. They have one channel called Valuetainment, I think is what it's called. And the guy I think he has a scam where they do insurance. Insurance scams are a big one. Life insurance seems to be one of the biggest ones. And they always have some kind of scam where you can go out there and sell these policies and get a kickback. And this was around in the 1980s. So this stuff is nothing new. But again, if you're one of those people out there and you're looking to make money, just remember, if they're out there promoting this stuff, you will fail. Just like all of the fitness. You see all the fitness people out there, my exercise program and my diet program and stuff like that. You're going to lose weight. They're going to this and that. And then the scams. They used to have a weight loss drug called Fen-Phen. And then it turned out, I think it gave you heart attacks and just total nonsense. And now you have Wegovy and Ozempic and all this stuff. And again, my theory is very simple. You need to go to the source. If you're trying to figure out where the problem is, go to the source. If your car is knocking, putting on headphones doesn't fix the problem. Eventually your engine is going to blow up. That's like if your check engine light is on. Ignoring that, just covering it up with a piece of tape isn't going to do it. So a lot of times, This seems to be the way that it works. But remember, when you're talking about making money, it's always going to come down to what is a real economy. And I also watch a guy called George Gammon. Now, he's a little bit of a scammer himself because he has this scam conference that's called Rebel Capitalist. It used to be here in Miami. He would always hide the location, but I figured out where it was a couple years ago. It wasn't that hard to figure out. Now he's in Orlando. And a lot of people like him, but I think he's a scam because the amount of money he charges is ridiculous. And the fact that he doesn't say where it is, he's just trying to hide it from people. But he has a lot of good information. If you look at his YouTube channel, which by the way is free, he doesn't charge for membership, so good for him. Other than that, and he's had business sense and so on. And you can see a lot of the things that he talks about. He talks about the financial system, central banking, investment, and all that is correct. And I learned a lot from the guy. And he went from having a few thousand when I first found his channel to a lot of subscribers now. But again, you can learn from these people to an extent. But when they're trying to sell you something, that's when you have to say, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit skeptical. And that's the way it is. You do not want to let these people get to your emotions because a lot of times what will happen is, you're struggling in your life. You're like me, trying to get paid for doing actual work, doing productive things. And you see these other people around you, like here in Miami, riding around in their stupid Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and they're a piece of crap. That what is that ugly piece of garbage that looks like a Toyota on steroids? Not a Rolls Royce. It's Bentley. Okay, ugliest car I've ever seen. And every time that I've been in one, which isn't that many times, it smells like chemicals. It's really ugly, 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 ugly. And people love these things. They even name a high rise Bentley. They tore down the Thunderbird Motel and they're building this thing called a Bentley. It's probably some round, ugly, black, white, and gray tower where people can go and waste their money. And then you have the Porsche four doors and all that. It's like when I think of a Porsche, I think about something like a 911. But nope, they have these family cars. My neighbor actually had one. They had to get rid of it because the thing broke down so many times. And, and again, it's all about appearance. So you got the 20 somethings out there. They don't have any money. And a lot of people like to go to the gym, which I think is a good thing if that's what you want to do. If you have a sedentary job, I think going to the gym is important because if you're not working physically, you need that activity. But then a lot of times, some of these guys, they'll get into anabolic steroids and stuff like that, and they'll put on muscle, and then they look good. So they figure, you know what? I'm poor, but I look good. So what if I could market some kind of product or service? And then they'll get with somebody else who's a scammer, and then they'll put up some money, and they'll come here to Miami, they'll rent a condo, and they'll rent some exotic cars, and they'll make videos, and they'll go out there and tell you, you got to do this, and you got to do that, and you can't settle for this, and blah, 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 bunch of nonsense. If you ever try to meet these people, they will always hide from you. I've tried to contact several of them when they come to Miami. I said, hey, you want to say hi? Oh, no, 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 no. You can't do that. Because the thing is, it's all an image. You have to have these unrealistically high expectations. Then you have to talk about all the women you're going to go with because all the 20-something guys, they want the hot women. That's one of their things. So they want the money. They want to show off. They want an expensive car. And really, what is their goal? They want to get laid. So they need to find the attractive women. Now, obviously, coming to Miami is a bad move because, in my opinion, there are no attractive women in Miami. There are very, very, very few. I haven't seen one in decades. Let's put it that way. Miami women, I call them the BBL gals because they all have a inflated rear end. So they'll get their Brazilian butt lift and plastic surgery. And of course, the boobs. They should have little air, like Schrader valves where they can pump in the silicone. That's what they really need. Some of these things are so big, it makes you wonder how they don't have back trouble. They fall over. It's like when you put too much weight in the bucket of the Bobcat and you try to lift the bucket and it falls over. I'm sure you've seen that. Try to pick up a pallet of sod with a medium-sized Bobcat. As soon as you start lifting it, the rear goes up like this. That's the way a lot of these women look like. So it is kind of funny. And I've actually met a few of these guys. And again, they're fast talking. They try to convince everybody that they are somehow smarter than everybody else. And they're actually quite entertaining. I enjoy talking to them if I get the chance because they often get frustrated with me. They look at me, they're like, what the heck is this? Some skinny thing that's like a tower, It's like looks like a palm tree on legs. And and again, a lot of them, they're used to people worshiping them at their feet because they're in good shape and they supposedly have a lot of money and women. And I look at them, it's like, I look down at them, it's like, yeah, you look pretty good, not too bad. I wouldn't mind having friends like you. But of course, they're all in it for the prestige and the money because that's what it is. Because really, when it comes down to it, the best way to get your hands on the women you like is to impress them with money. Now, what they don't realize is a lot of these gold diggers, they'll take you to the cleaners as soon as they find something better. So, my theory is this: if you really do want to find a good mate, do what some of my friends have done, go to the rural areas. If you can find the gals that are not on meth, they're probably pretty good. And if a lot of the best women that I've known, they came from a farm. They had their parents were in farming or relatives were in farming, and they wouldn't be ashamed to go out there and take care of the animals or work on the equipment. Um, that's kind of what it should be. They all know how to cook, and a lot of them do like meat, although some of them do like that sugary crap as well. But anyway, that's what I say. Now, again, no one's going to listen to me because I don't have anything to offer anybody. I don't have the Lamborghini or the Ferrari. I don't live in a crappy black, white, and gray condo. I don't have a yacht. I don't have pretty girls around me. In fact, the girls run away from me because they think that I'm Lurch from the Addams family. I've had people even think that I remind them of a serial killer. I said, "What? A serial killer?" But on the good side, I've had several people tell me I look like Fred Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And I joke with them. I said, "Yeah, I'm the carnivore version of Mr. Rogers." So if you like Mr. Rogers, who, by the way, I think was a vegetarian, and I think he died of cancer as well, so that's not good. But if you like the whole Mr. Rogers vibe, well, you have it here, but on the carnivore side. And again, I know my vegan friends, and I know some people that are from the religious background that would go against the carnivore diet because they say that the carnivore diet gives you carnal desires. You're going to go chase after women and you're going to commit fornication. That's what they say. But on my carnivore diet, it's never been that way. I've never committed fornication and I don't commit adultery. I don't look at women that way. I look at women as human beings, not as pieces of meat. And the reason is because I eat so much meat as it is, I know what a real piece of meat is supposed to be like. And that's not them. So that's the way that I think of it. So anyway, I see we have comments. We have 43 people. Now, this is Friday. I don't want to spend all day in here. It's 9:07. Now, generally at this time, I'd be watching a YouTube channel if I had access to a computer. There's actually, what is the guy's name? Jack. He has a Nobody Special Finance where they talk about financial things, but I'll watch a replay. It doesn't matter. I do like to watch a lot of finance channels. And if you would ever look at the playlist of videos I have on YouTube, yes, I watch the carnivore channels, but I've always been more into the finance channels and the farming channels. Now, I had somebody ask me in an email, why in the world would you watch finance channels when you think the system is a scam? And the reason I do that is because I want to understand how the system works. And I also want to know people that are familiar with the financial system because eventually the system will implode. And I want to have those people around me because we're going to figure out ways around it. We're not going to let the system take us down. The system can go down, but it's your choice to be taken down by it. And how do you get taken down by a system? Well, think about a sinking ship. If you're on the ship that's sinking and you stay on that ship, what's going to happen? Well, eventually it's going to go down and down and down into the water. And there comes a point in time when you are starting to go underwater. And if you try to get away from it, what's going to happen? Well, that ship still has air in it. And when it goes down, the air will come out. And then what happens? The water rushes back in. So it'll probably take you down with it. If you're on a sinking ship, it might be a good idea to get into the lifeboat. Now, you may have to suffer a little bit when you're in the lifeboat. They might be living up in the ship. They're enjoying delicious food. They're dancing around. They're having fun. The band is playing while the Titanic is sinking. And meanwhile, you're in the lifeboat. You're way out there. You're out in that water. You got waves. It might be cold. Who knows? You might be surrounded by sharks. And you're thinking, man, why did I get off of that boat? Oh, that's terrible. I'm suffering for nothing. But then when that thing sinks, that's it. You're out of the way. But if you're by yourself, you don't have a lot of options. But what if you had a bunch of other people in different lifeboats all grouped together. You got some food with you, you got a map, you got directions. Now you can go somewhere else. And that's what I want to do. I want to try to get those of us that have similar thoughts together, even though we don't live in the same place. At least we know each other. We can help each other out and find stuff and do stuff. And when the system does collapse, you know, Miami's going to be a bad place. Let me tell you. Hopefully, I'll be out of here by then. But I know for a fact we have no real agriculture around here. We have no energy source. If this place was cut off, it would be the worst place to live, especially with our horrible weather. Can you imagine that? It would not be good. All right, so we have more comments here. We can try to wrap this up, I guess. Brilliant take on all these economic scams. Rick, it's mostly very predatory. Yes, it is by design. That's what I'm doing with my Buy Me a Coffee. I'm saving it for secret goats. There you go, Aaron. Keep doing it. Trade jerky, bacon bucks, beef bullion. See, that's it. All these meat coin. That's what I want to do. And this is why I want to get us together, because we might be able to do that. The secret for us carnivores, in my opinion, would be to have sources of meat. Now, it'd be nice if it's local, but maybe some of us live in an agricultural area. Maybe some of us have contacts. And for someone like me that wants to move, it would be nice to have an area that had at least maybe 50, 60 people of like mind, because, you know, they say that you can have up to 50, 60 friends that you can communicate with and keep in contact with. If we had 50 or 60 like-minded people in one county or one area, it would be very difficult for us to be destroyed by an economic collapse. All right, let's see what else. Hit that like button. Yes, Sandy, hit the like button, please. I have 21 likes and there's 41 people here. So if you haven't hit it already, make sure you click it. Don't forget. I mean, it doesn't benefit me because I don't get paid for these videos. I'm not monetized. I don't think I ever will be, but who knows? Go ahead and do it, because maybe we can get the word out to other people. Remember, does anyone remember what was the reason I went on YouTube? Well, I'll ask you that question a little bit later. Let me hit the comments. Think about that. You'll see these scammers all over the comments section in social media. Yes, you do. And Rick never runs out of things to say. That's because my mind is always in gear. My first love in Northwest Alabama, broke horses, cowgirl, CB Carmack. See, I'm telling you, those are the best women. The women that live in rural areas are the best. And I think they're the best looking too, because I don't like a big rear end. I think that's kind of nasty. You know, you got that thing pumped full of silicone. I don't want to see that. Ugh. You know, if I want something big and fat, I'll just, you know, fill a tire up or fill an inner tube up with water and sit on that. That's just, I don't see the point of it. All right, let's see. Dropping in. And I see Dustin was here. Let's get dangerous. Darkwing Duck Dustin is here. Keto Simple. I'm glad they're fun. I love your lives, Aaron. Yes, yes, you do great. Yes, she does. She does. She doesn't talk nonstop. Well, I talk nonstop. You know how that is. And then we had a comment here from Unknown. Did you know that several big opponents of the Fed were aboard the Titanic? Yes, I know that. I remember that. And, you know, again, they are the true source of power. Now we have our first official question. CB Carmack, question. Have you ever watched Reserved Investments YouTube channel? He's straight up and shows his viewers tough love. He touches on all, but a lot about the collectibles and antique trade. No, I haven't seen it, but I will look at it. And when it comes to collectibles, I have a lot of them, but I never got into it for money. I got into it because I like the stuff. Okay, and again, CB Carmack is here, and I'm sure that you have completely recovered from the flu or whatever virus you had. So that's a good thing. So anyway, again, I just wanted to have a little Friday. Now, I'm not going to be here tomorrow morning because I'm going to hit the yard sales. If I get a chance, I may hit the afternoon. But I figured I promised to my subscribers that I would do one live a week. And this is it. You know, it fulfills, as Russ always says, it'll fulfill my contract. Been about an hour and 14 minutes. But anyway, if anybody has any additional questions, now this is a work day, so I don't want to take everyone's time. Now, some of you may be listening. That's why I try to have the audio better than the video. Hopefully you don't mind my voice and the occasional sniffles from the dry air, but that's just normal. When you talk as long as I do, maybe I should have my ice water. That's it. Let me get some of that. All right. Morning ice water with Rick. There's still ice in there. That's a good thing. I had someone one time say, "Why do you have a beer mug?" Well, these things were cheap at the dollar store. If you notice, every time that I drink out of a container, it's never plastic. You ever notice that? Everything I have is glass. And you'll always see water on the outside of it because I don't drink anything hot. I don't like anything hot. I don't like anything with colors in it. So I don't drink coffee, I don't drink tea, I don't drink any of that. Obviously, I don't drink soda because I call that liquid poison. But, that's one of those things. And we got some more comments. I see Dustin is here. I'm glad you're live today. I'll be on my way to Columbus, Ohio tomorrow for a meetup. Well, good for you. Good for you. I'm still waiting till the first meetup that I go to. I haven't been to one yet. Hopefully, I'll go to the one in Tampa. They have what is that? What do they call that? I forget now, but they have some kind of meetup there. I think it's for keto or whatever it is. But a friend of mine invited me there. No one's invited me there to speak or anything because, again, you don't want to put a quack on the stage. Let's see. Yes, I am well. Thanks. Driving to South Alabama to pick one up for court. Oh, got to transport those criminals, huh? Thank you again, Rick. I really need to get my chores now. Yes, Aaron, get your chores done. You got a lot to do, especially since you have to do it by hand. And Dustin says ice isn't duck food. No, I've never seen a duck like to eat ice. That's definitely a thing. But again, I think in the carnivore space, this makes me unique. Actually, I'm unique in many ways. I've actually seen on several vegan channels, they talk about in order to be a carnivore, you have to use stimulants like coffee. I don't believe that because, again, some of the more prominent carnivores, such as Anthony Chaffee and Dr. Baker, they don't use coffee. But if you do use coffee, it's not a problem. For those of you that are in the keto community, coffee is pretty much fine as long as you don't put any sugar in it. I mean, you got your fat, you got your coffee seeds, and so on. And Dustin says we have a countertop ice machine. Well, that's good. I've seen those. I actually had to fix one a few months ago. We had one of them high-end kitchens, and they have a ice maker that's built into the cabinet. And then this one, what you have to do, it's underneath. It's like it comes underneath the cabinet. They have a button you can push, and then the tray drops down. I thought that was kind of neat. And what happened was it got jammed up. Something got frozen inside. I had to take it out, and that was it. Okay, we have one Jay's notes. I have the feeling to be attractive, one should stand out in a way, but my instinct is to appear in a way that blends into the atmosphere background. I think that people are naturally introverted, and I agree with that. Most people don't want to be out there. In fact, speaking of guests, let me let my guest in now that I'm getting to the wrap up point. So if something happens, you know who did it. Okay, let me get my buddy Milton. Where are you? Oh, Milton, come here. Milton, where are you? Milton, there we go. Here comes the El Toro. Come on, let's go. Come on. Come here, baby. Here we go. Come on. Come on. I think our fans want to check you out. Come on. Come on. Let's go. What? You being shy? Come on. You know you want to be on camera. Let's go. Come on. Why are you sitting there? Come on. Here he goes. You want to attack, don't you? Come here. Okay. I'm going to pick you up. There we go. Look at that. Look at that little monster. Look at that little monster. Look at that little monster. Look at those teeth. Hello. There's the monster. You're a good kitty, aren't you? You're such a sweetheart. There we go. So yeah, he's here. He's been roaming the house and what? You're not going to attack? You mean you've actually calmed down? I can't believe it. Look at that. He's not going to attack. You see the camera's right there. You know you want to cut me off. Okay. Anyway, so let's see how many people we have. We have 43 people. That is very good. And he's going for the ice water. Okay. I think this cat, he can't resist water. He always wants to get a drink. You want water? Is that what you want? Hmm? There he goes. Look at that little head. There's the little monster. You're a monster, aren't you? You silly puss. Okay. Let's see. All right. Yeah, Milton is coming. Yeah. Currently waiting for my kettle to boil. I could live just fine without coffee, but I'm not gonna. Well, that's your option, Dustin. You don't have to give up your coffee. If you like your coffee, drink your coffee. Did he kick his liver all over the floor? I'm using beef fat that's a little moldy, but I think it'll be okay. I didn't even think mold could grow on beef. I mean, maybe it's the whole fat, but on the tallow, you're not going to get mold growing on it. Mold needs water to grow. And that's one of the reasons why we convert fat into lard or tallow, because it's a lot easier to preserve it without the water. So anyway, I see that little Milton monster. What are you doing, huh? He's just sitting there watching me. Usually he'd be all over attacking me or whatever. You like to watch the ice cubes? You're a cute cat. Yes, you are. Look at that. You can see the little head right there. There he is. He's definitely calming down. He was extremely wild when I first got him, as you know, but he has calmed down quite a bit. And when I get my truck running, I'm going to have to try to train him how to go around. You want this, don't you? Look at the paw. Look at that paw. Here he comes. You can't resist, can you? Look at that face. Oh, my goodness. All right. You want this? You want that? There you go, little buddy. You're a cutie. Oh, now he's going over there. All right. So, yeah, I don't see. Okay. Hi, Rick and everybody. Do you know how Mitch, old guy Connor, was doing? How is he now? There are some comments earlier. What I saw mentioned is that I guess they must have done the cardiac cath or whatever, and his heart is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So they have him in rehabilitation. And hopefully soon, they said they're going to rehabilitate a bit in the hospital. And instead of going to a nursing home, they're going to send him home. So he must be in pretty good shape. And I guess they'll send the home health care. And hopefully they won't do like they did with my mom and be incompetent. But yeah, that's the whole thing. And I really hope that pretty soon he'll be out and about. But remember, these things take time to recover from. So if he's got to take another week off, remember what Mitch always tells us, take the day off. Well, you know what? I tell Mitch, take the week off, take the month off, take whatever you have to do to recover, because you're going to recover. I mean, it's just a matter of time. The question is how much damage was done. And of course, as old as he is, he's not going to recover like someone who's 20 or 30 or even 40. But yes, again, his heart is fine. So I guess the carnivore diet, or what I call it, the heart attack diet, doesn't live up to its name. I don't know. My heart is probably shot. I could drop dead at any time. I could drop dead right now of a heart attack. So, my cat might scare me and I end up dropping dead of a heart attack. What are you doing, Milton? You're eating a telephone? Don't do that. Look at that tail. Look at that. Look at that. Look at those eyes. You still remind me of Louis Rossman and his cat Blackberry and Clinton, those black kitties. I noticed black cats are very popular on the internet. I really like that. Oh, we got some more comments and questions. Okay. Let's see. Yes. You can. Okay. And Ellen is here. There we go. So if you want to ask somebody about Mitch, this is the person to ask. And CB Carmack says you can purify it to prevent mold. It is a gelatin and water in that causes mold. Yes. Carnivore Quest channel has a video on purifying. There you go. So check out Carnivore Quest, Larry, if he has information on that. It's basically just making beef tallow, but yes, that's good. And let's see. Not being able to fast for over 24 hours on carnivore, how to solve. Don't do it. I don't fast. Why do you need to fast? The carnivore diet itself is a fasting mimicking diet. Eat whenever you want to. My theory is eat as much as you want to. Eventually, you'll get filled up and then you won't be getting fat. You won't be overeating. All right. So, yeah, Owen says latest update. Some people say that drinking really cold water is bad, but I think that's not true. I drink ice water every day, as I have for decades. If it's bad, I don't know what it's doing to me. I've never had a problem with it. Hi, Ellen. Good to hear about Mitch. Yes. Do you also eat supermarket eggs other than duck eggs? Yes, I do. I eat whatever eggs I can get my hand on. Good morning, Ellen. He will be minimum of 2 weeks in rehab unit, maybe more. Okay. And Ellen says hi. I say hi back. I hope rehab have bacon and eggs and steak. Greetings from Tampa Bay, United Carnivore. Greetings from Miami. And my cat is over here. You want the ice water? One of the things that I was telling someone else in an email, because Mitch had a heart attack. What am I saying? Because Rick has a heart attack. No, because Mitch had a stroke. That at least he didn't have a heart attack. And the thing is, his heart turns out to be good. And that's fine. He's going to be able to actually inspire people, I think, more because of having a stroke. Because when he comes back, and he will, it's going to be something that can show that the carnivore diet was not the cause of this. The carnivore diet is actually helping him. When my mother had her health issues, it took a really long time. I mean, my mother, it took weeks before she could even stand up and walk a little bit again because she was not on the carnivore diet. And I think in his case, being on the carnivore diet is going to help a lot. And he will recover. How much he will recover is dependent on how much damage he's done in the past. Remember, you see pictures of him. He was overweight. He did have a lot of issues. It's different than somebody like, well, for example, me. I've never been overweight. I've always been skinny. I've always been healthy to an extent. Yes, I have sinus issues, but that's just the way that I am. And, I don't take any medications. I never do. I get the flu 3 times a year. I've never been seriously. Oh, what are you doing? Get out of there. Oh, that cat. No, don't play with the mixer, okay? Are you determined to knock me offline? I think the vegans put you here so they can take me offline whenever they want. He probably has a chip in his head that's controlled by the vegan agenda. Right, Milton? You silly puss. Okay, so yes, stored it in a plastic bag. And that's another thing. Don't put your beef fat in a plastic bag because that's going to keep the bacteria sealed up. You may end up with more problems. The best way to store beef fat is in the refrigerator. Throw it into an open container and throw it in the refrigerator. It won't go bad. Fat is very stable, and even if it dries out, you can still heat it up. And by the way, the material that's not the lard or tallow is what we call the cracklins. It's like pork rinds. It's crunchy. It's something you might enjoy. So don't let your fat rot. Put it in the refrigerator open until you can render it. Hello, Milton. What do you want? Oh, Gizzy? Yeah, you're a good kitten, aren't you? You're sweet. You're a cute little kitten. You got your little white spot over here. You can see that. Yeah, you're a nice kitty. All right. So, ever had a dog? Yes, a long time ago I had a dog. He lived about 12 years. What? What are you doing? I've always found cats, though, to be my favorite pet for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. Good news. Hi, Kathy in Florida, Florida. Okay. There we go. Now we have 44 people still. That's actually pretty good. I don't want this to be another 5-hour stream, honestly, but I'm not afraid to have, you know, a little bit of a stream. I have a lot of things to do. I haven't even eaten my breakfast yet. In fact, I might bring it in just to show you what it looks like. Um, I jumped in for a moment, but we'll listen anyway later. Yeah, go ahead. It's fine. I mean, there's nothing here, just me with my usual rants. Sometimes I'll get into a good rant that goes on, especially when I talk about corruption, because that was one of the reasons that I started on YouTube. I hate scammers. There's nothing I hate more than scammers. People that they basically use the ignorance and desperation of others as a way to get rich. And a lot of times people get taken advantage of. They deserve it because they're looking for something for nothing. You see a lot of older people that want to get some money and they get into scams and then they lose it. But, what can I say? CB Carmack says, like myself, Mitch tends to care, worry, and get worried about things. So that tends to cause issues. I guess maybe it's cortisol and not enough serotonin, some dopamine. Well, also, Mitch has a history of being unhealthy. He's done a lot of different things like I have. He's had businesses. He's probably known a lot of people. He's been divorced. His life has been more of a roller coaster than mine. The biggest problem I ran into was taking care of my parents. That's about it. And dealing with the idiotic city where everything is overpriced and people are nuts. But I think in many ways, also, when you see a person become agitated and more difficult to deal with, that means they're having health issues. And I noticed with Mitch, he was getting a little more snappy with people. And I think that might have been an indication that he did have that issue that was coming on. Thankfully, he's going to recover from it. And I have a feeling that eventually he will be pretty much the same as he was before. Um, Ellen News, okay. A question from Up Syndrome. Do you eat supermarket yogurt? I do at times, but normally I make my own. I get either fresh or powdered milk. It doesn't matter what it is. And I use a yogurt culture that I have. Now, I want to make a video to show you how to start your own yogurt culture. You can get Aldi plain yogurt, for example. It has live cultures in it, and you can easily make your own yogurt. Now, when you use milk, you're normally going to have to pasteurize it by heating it because you don't want to have a mix of cultures. If you try to make raw milk yogurt, it's going to be chunky and lumpy. It's going to be more like kefir. But again, that's a preference. But I recommend for all beginners, start out with the supermarket yogurt. Make sure that it has no flavorings in it. Make sure that it has the live cultures. And again, I'll show you. It's very simple. Anybody can do it. Well, that's interesting. I thought I had a white spot on my fingernail, but I realized I was painting yesterday, and that's what it was. Okay, buddy. As you can see, he has relaxed. Look at that little cutie. Nice kitty. Okay. Let's see. We have some other things here. Stress is almost as bad as sugar. Yes, it might actually be worse because people I know that are stressed out always have issues. We got some good mornings here. If you can buy Mitch some coffee, the link in the description of his channel. Yes. Old guy carnivore. Yeah, do that. I'm sure he would appreciate the donations to help him get better. I mean, he does put a lot of time into this. He was doing this every single day, which I couldn't do unless I was retired. Now, if I was retired, I could do it every day. And I think when it comes to talking, I am the champion of the YouTube space. I can out talk anybody. And one thing I've noticed about my talking when I listen to it, it actually sounds good. A lot of the people that I listen to on YouTube, especially the younger ones, they do tend to stutter and they have a lot of words that, such as whatever, that seem to fill the space. A lot of times their mind, I don't think, is working at 100%. But in the carnivore space, it seems like those of us, our brain is able to work better and we are able to talk in a more coherent manner. So, anyway, perhaps we have to admit, even as carnivores, we have health issues. I admit that all the time. Too much unwellness means maybe we hide our problems. Okay. I have heart failure and possible bowel cancer, but 3 years carnivore. Well, again, No diet's going to fix everything. I mean, no diet's going to cure you. This is one of the reasons why I don't like the term healing humanity, because I think, even like Mitch, and I agree on this, that is presumptive. And I think that it is just giving people false hope that they're going to go on a carnivore diet and they're going to heal. And I'm not trying to criticize Kerry. I kind of like him, although I haven't met him yet. Maybe I will in person. I don't know. But I think that it's sort of evolved into something where people can get recognition and make money. And I'm against that. I'm against using the carnivore lifestyle as a money making enterprise. I know he's trying to get his movie going and the movie's going to change the world and all that. I really don't think so. I think that duck food is here to stay. But hey, that's fine. And I think a lot of times the damage that was done is not all repairable. At the very least, I think you could stop digging the hole, but once you're in the hole, filling it in is a different story. So if you're a really sick person, if you've lost fingers and toes from diabetes, you're not going to get them back. If your liver's scarred, you're not going to get that back. If your heart is damaged, you have dead muscles, you're not going to get that back. Your body could compensate a little bit, but in the end, the damage is done, and that's it. So the thing is, just don't make it any worse. And even if you can't repair the damage and the health conditions, at least you can use what you have in a better way. And I think that's the most we can hope for. So being very strict carnivore and saying it's going to cure everything, in my opinion, is foolishness. And I think you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Now, what I'm going to do while I have my little guy here sitting here, I'm going to check on my breakfast. I'm going to show you what I eat for breakfast, and I'll be right back. Here it is. Rick's breakfast. Now, since we're running poor, I don't have any eggs. This is what I have to eat for breakfast. Now, what is this? It's 2 pounds of pork. There's a bit of a bone in it. There's a lot of fat on it. Now, again, this is store-bought pork, so it's not ideal. But you can't starve. I don't want to starve, so I'm going to have to eat it. Now, how do I eat? And yes, it is basically boiled. The water that's left over is going to be used to harvest lard, which I can use for frying. So, now again, this is a survival food, and I'm not saying that you have to eat ribeye steak all the time because beef is too expensive. Now, I will have beef later, ground beef. This actually tastes really good. Now, because I cooked it in my kitchen, there are no seasonings, there's no salt or anything on this. All I did was take a chunk of this meat with the bone on it, and you can see there's a bone right here, and put it into a pot with a little bit of water in it, and just let it slow cook. And now it's nice and tender. The meat comes right off the bone. And a lot of times when you see the elite carnivores going online, what do they have? They have a cutting board and a knife and a fork. But because I'm a caveman and I don't live with anybody, I live by myself, this is how I eat. What is that? That's very strange. Sounds like a Facebook sound. Oh, well. Who knows? But anyway, okay. So let's see. We have a comment here. My family member in his 50s has the worst health. He was a first responder. He enjoyed the work but took a toll. And also with first responders, a lot of them tend to be suicidal. Loads of stress in my experience has subsided since eating BBBE, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Well, right now, that is just B because I have no butter, no bacon, and no eggs. Just beef. And the question is boiled? Boiled, yes, it is boiled. Very, very simple. Now, I don't really like grilled meats as much, but okay, so it isn't good. Pork, must go and raid the freezer. Florida has a question. Rick, do you brown the pork first? No, I do not like browned meat. Believe it or not, I like raw meat the most. The reason I like raw meat, I think it tastes the best. The problem is I don't trust it. I don't want to get parasites, infections, all this other stuff. So what I do, I'll slow cook or boil the meat. But as you'll notice, this meat has no grill marks or brown or anything on it. It's just boiled. I also cook this way when I'm driving, so I'm kind of used to it. And you can see I don't use any utensils. Now, this is what I've had a lot of vegans tell me. If humans are meant to be carnivores, why do you have to use a knife and a fork? The fruitarians, the raw vegans, they just eat the fruit from the tree. So, in my opinion, it's the same thing. Now, obviously, you're not going to kill an animal with your bare hands. You have to use tools, but we can make tools. That's no problem. Very good. Okay. Did you put salt on the pork? No, I did not. No salt. Have you seen Harry Serpano's content? Yes, I have. He's a friend of Bart. He can go into also for hours, yeah, like you in his live streams. That is correct. I've seen him before. I haven't seen him lately, though. And Ellen says, I love Rick's minimalist approach. Well, thank you very much. I eat with my hands a bit at home. And the other thing, too, is that when I eat with my hands, it seems like the fat goes into my skin. For somebody that's 56 and works with his hands daily, I think I'm doing pretty good. I don't wear gloves. I'm always working, digging and doing all that, and my skin is in pretty good shape. It looks better than some people. And a lot of times when you shake somebody's hand, it's like shaking a girl's hand. That's a little weird, but all right. Oh, look who we have here. Wicko's Carnivore. Have you seen his channel? He interviewed me like a year or more ago, and he puts out content. I haven't seen him make too many videos lately, but it might be YouTube not recommending him. But glad that he's here. That's pretty good. So yeah, check out his channel if you get a chance. I've tried iodine drops daily for the past 4 months because of my belief of having an underactive thyroid. Well, you should. Seafood is also pretty good for iodine. Now, I don't think I've ever really had that issue. I mean, I wouldn't know. Shoot, I haven't been to a doctor since 96. But, it's one of those things. It might be a good idea. I mean, it's like people have electrolyte issues. You might want to try that too. Here's the bone from the pork. Not bad. Pretty good. Sorry that I'm eating on camera, but that's another thing you'll see on my channel. How long did you cook it? I turned the fire on when I started this live stream. So it was probably an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half, something like that. Oh. Pretty good. Okay. Thanks, Rick. I haven't posted many videos lately. Need to get better doing them. Yeah. Again, I always try to contact with the newer channels. And, you know, everybody has their own carnivore story. I think in many ways, we're all unique and we need to kind of get together. Oh, look, Bob is here. Hey, Bob. Good to see you. That's another channel, Semi-Retired Bob. He also interviewed me. Check him out. He actually did have heart disease, and he goes for walks. He's doing yard work, and he's going to have an off-grid home. So imagine someone in his 60s, basically had a miserable life for years, couldn't do much, drove a truck, and now he's out there. He's got quite a few subscribers. I'll just throw this on the floor. Rick with his primitive living. Now you'll notice there's a big slab of fat over here on this pork. I'm going to eat all this as well. I love the fat. I won't be able to type because my hands are covered in lard, but that's okay. Anyway, now you can see why I don't have a girlfriend, because no one's going to live with someone that eats like this. My mother always said, "You have the manners of a caveman." I said, "Yeah, I do." There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't bother me. I mean, seriously. Okay. So, let's see. Oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah, that's true. Iodine could be deficient for me, but I think the thyroid could improve if I eat more. I'm relatively underweight. Well, go ahead, eat more. Eat 3 times a day like I do. Enjoy the heart attack lifestyle. It's good for you. You'll feel great. And when you do get the big one, you won't even know what hit you. You're just going to, all of a sudden, it's going to be lights out. And that's it. You're done. Okay. You're near the sea, Rick. I have pork tongue on heart today. Good. Nice. Okay, Rick, LOL. You're eating meat out of hand, throwing bone on floor. Real Henry. There you go. Yeah, but I think I'm a little bit leaner than he was. I watch Bob enjoy his channel, and so do I. And I think, if I'm not wrong, Bob has another live today. He was live with our friend Dave Mack on Wednesday. They do that every 2 weeks. And I've been on Bob's channel. Bob's interviewed me. I know I was on when he had his birthday special, Bob and I are carnivore buddies, it seems. I watch Bob, yes. I just came up with a good strategy to test it. Farm-raised seafood has enough iodine in it, in case people can only afford or only access to farm-raised. Mix cornstarch and water, iodine reacts. Okay, that's an idea. Yeah, you're right about that. And you can get cornstarch. I mean, they sell that even in Aldi. I use it to make ceiling tiles. You get it in industrial amounts. But yeah, there is cornstarch. That's right. It's a good point. CB, great tip. Yes. And that's what it's here for, so we can kind of. Okay. Almost black. It won't dissipate when starch is present. There you go. Yeah. Learn that whiskey making. There you go. I don't think people want to see me eat like a pig. Actually, I'm not eating like a pig. I'm eating like a cat. And you'll notice I shut the door because if Milton would be in here, he'd be over there chewing on this with me. Oh, nice fat. I figured if I eat now, I got to sit down to eat anyway. If you don't mind watching me eat, I can continue the live here. We have 45 people and 31 likes. Very good. I like all of you. I would click like on every one of your channels if I could. I can't. This is good. Now, I know a lot of people, they don't like to eat fat. They find the taste of animal fat to be unpleasant. But in my case, I do enjoy fat very much. And I have tried to eat lean meats before, and my digestion was not as good. But when I eat the fat, it feels good. And sometimes, like if I haven't eaten when I normally eat, I may feel a little bit of stomach discomfort. One of the best things for that is to eat fatty meat. Now, I've had people tell me that fat gives them heartburn. I'm not quite sure what that is, but you know, I don't think I've ever had heartburn. And the worst I've ever had is when I tried to go plant based and I had like that acid reflux. But about it. Okay. Chemistry. There you go. No more chemistry class. Lambs is here. He says, does Little Monster enjoy all sorts of meat? Yes, he does. He enjoys pork, chicken, iguana, beef. I haven't given him any duck yet because I haven't had any duck since I had him. But he seems to like every kind of meat. He likes raw meat because I've gotten him kind of spoiled on that. But, that's the way. Now you can see I'm working on this pretty good. Sandy says, oh, I love the taste of fat. So much flavor. Yes. I think that's my main energy source as well. And Ellen says, I'll be back. I need my coffee. Raw meat essential for cats. You got that right. He gets plenty of it. My little monster eats raw meat whenever I got it. I love fatty mutton. Yeah, you and me both. Lamb, delicious. Really nice. Now, when it comes to eat, I tend to eat meat. I like it when it's hot, but I will eat it when it's cold if I have to. I do like the meat when it's warm or hot better. And 2 pounds of meat is a normal meal for me. I really like that. Now, Bob says, I like fat, but I have to crispy it up with a torch. Well, everybody has their preference. I like it in its normal fatty form. Okay. CB Carmack says, whiskey making is what made me realize our amylase in our mouths and the criminal acts big food commits to hiding starch or flours in so-called low-sugar duck food. Yeah, you got that right. An unknown says, I have so many different food allergies, shellfish, many different fruits and tree nuts, and now I learned dairy too. Now, you got to remember, that can change. I know people that had food allergies, and when they switch to a meat-based diet, after a few years, they can eat those foods again, and basically, they're fine. But what would happen if you kept eating that stuff? You'd probably get the allergies back. I think a lot of it, when your body's in that inflamed fighting state, there are problems with that. So I recommend, in my case, experiment. No expert can tell you how your body works. You need to figure that out for yourself. And it says amylase converts those starches and feeds stanky breath, causing teeth decay bacteria. There you go. Well, think about it. I haven't been to a dentist since 1986. I haven't had a cavity. Now, I think my breath is like my cat's breath, but who cares? No one gets that close to me. When you're 6'6", no one's going to be in your face. Let's put it that way. That's what it is. Oh, look who else has popped in. It's Peter. Hi, everyone. Papa Carnivore is here. Well, there you go. The fellow quack has dropped in to the duck pond. Okay. It's true. I think it's a starch, usually corn. There's more of a problem than sugar. I agree with that. And Bob says dose response on a lot of the mild poisons. Yes, absolutely. Again, if you're not watching Bob's channel, watch his channel, please. And I think he'll have a live 5:30 today or whatever it is. I'm off today, so I'll be there. Hopefully my crazy cat won't attack the keyboard again, knock people offline. But I'll be in front of the computer. I won't be outside. A lot of times when I'm working, what I'll do, I put the radio, the transmitter on, carry a radio with me, and I have the computer inside the house playing the live so I can listen to it while I'm working. Okay. I was doing beef and cream diet and got hives. Yeah, well, watch out for those creams too, because a lot of them are not pure cream. They may have additives, and who knows what they feed the cattle nowadays. Probably a lot of, wheat. I mean, a lot of corn and soy or whatever it is. Wheat straw. One of the problems is sometimes they'll feed the cattle straw and stalks, and a lot of those commercial crops have herbicides like glyphosate used on them. I know, like oats, they used to spray glyphosate to dry them out, and obviously the animals are getting that too. Okay, I got to go for a meeting. Well, thank you, Ryan. Wicko's Carnivore. Have a good day. I'm glad you were here. Thank you for taking your time out to stop. Desmomoto says, you ever eat raw meat like raw steak? Yes, I have. I've eaten raw steak and I've eaten raw liver. I love the taste of it. I don't eat it often because I don't trust it, but I have done it. It's snowing here again, says Bob. Nebraska sucks. Well, okay. My runner duck give me 1 egg a day. Well, good. That's a good start. Someone else is stealing my emails. Uh-oh. Password must have gotten hacked. I don't think it's so much the dairy, but what they're feeding and injecting. Yes, Ellen, I agree. I think that's what it is. No wonder people don't make progress in their awareness. She just started laying again. Well, good for the ducky. Good for the ducky. I don't know how to fix the issue because the person who got a hold of my email stole my password. Well, sometimes you can get lucky and contact the email provider and have the account, deleted, or then you can restart it. But that's up to your email provider. I change my passwords pretty regularly, and I use random characters. The problem is I have to maintain a database, which is also encrypted, and I keep the main password in the safe. Well, one time my stupid safe got stuck, and I couldn't get the main password. It was a while before the safe was actually openable again. It's stuck again now, by the way, but I have another one. But the most common way that people get hacked is either through a keylogger or through some type of social engineering. And usually with us, it's a keylogger. You may have software where they can actually get it. Another thing that often happens if you use a mobile device and you're using Wi-Fi, a lot of those packets are unencrypted, and they can sometimes get the password like in an email. There's always some type of security lapse, but I've never been hacked in how long have I been online? Since the late 90s? At least 27, 28 years. I've never been hacked, so that's pretty good. Okay. All right, more questions here. No one's unrelated. Are people leaving Florida due to not having insurance for their houses? I don't think they're leaving, but I think it's discouraging people here. I don't have insurance on my house, but that's because I don't have a mortgage. Let me see a front label saying low carb, low sugar, low glycemic. My ingredients have starch or flour. Yes. They play games with serving size. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Who drops iodine to the skin? Oh, Okay, a little more calm, but it's hard to know for sure. Thoughts on AI? I have a lot of thoughts on AI. First of all, I think AI at this point is overrated. What it can do is underwhelming compared to what they're telling you. Reality doesn't match the hype. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Where'd that go? Yeah. The thing about AI though, it's subject to entropy like everything else. If AI was turned on its own without constant human input, AI would fail. I'm confident of that because the universe is constantly dealing with entropy. This is one of the things that I disagree with Mitch on because I don't think he believes in God. I believe there is a God, and I believe that is the force that counteracts entropy. The natural state of everything is to become more disordered over time. When you see an abandoned building, you can always tell the difference between one that's maintained. A car that's been sitting in a field for decades is different than one that's brand new. Always been that way. So, properly used, AI at best is a good way of freeing humans from needless repetitive tasks, but at its worst, it is a system that will eventually fail. Okay. Denise Nagona. I have loved fat since I was a kid. I eat a lot of fat. That's the best. That's what I'm doing right now. Now, notice that's gone. The only thing left is this bit of fat. While I was talking to you, I'm devouring my breakfast. Really nice. That's good. Now, I don't really get hungry, but I felt a little discomfort in my intestines earlier because they were empty and all that water I drank. But now, with this fatty meat, I feel really good. And my energy is still good. When I get a chance, I'm going to hop on the bicycle. I'm going to go over to probably Fresco y Mas, which is right down the street on the other side turnpike. And I'll get some chicken. I want to have heart attack chicken for lunch. Now, again, on my YouTube channel, nothing is edited. You're not going to see me trying to promote something. You get to see my real life right now. Delicious. Now, sometimes when I have a big piece of fat like this, I'll make a pork rind out of it. And what I'll do, I'll cut this into strips and then I'll put it either in a toaster oven or I'll put it in a pot with a mesh on it. I'll heat it up. Another thing you can do when you make heart attack chicken, you can take this slab of fat, and as long as you get all the meat out of it, you don't want any meat in it because the meat will burn. And you cut this in little strips. Maybe I should make a video on that. And then you put them into the hot lard. And as it fries, it renders out some of the lard and it leaves you what we call pork cracklings, which is sort of like pork rinds. Very nice. These are very good for making heart attack buns. Now, you'll notice I haven't done any cooking videos on making heart attack bread or any of that stuff because all of those carnivore culinary creations require eggs, which I don't have. And the one thing that you need to understand, if you want to make fake duck food, and there's a lot of channels that do that, you need to have eggs because without eggs, fake duck food is impossible. If you're living poor like I am, you're just going to cook the meat and that's it. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Some good points. I mean, we got some really smart people in here. And again, I say that my chat is the elite of the internet because the best people are the ones that come to this channel. Anyone that is not that great is going to run away from my channel because I don't offer any entertainment. I don't offer any motivational talk. Well, I offer some motivational talk, but not a lot. You're not here to get rich. You're not here to attract women. We're here to discuss real things among real people. That's what sets my channel apart from any of the others. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Here's a comment about AI. AI started by a human programming, so it has its bias. Well, bias or whatever. AI is from software created, on computer languages created by humans. Ultimately, it goes to binary, which is also created by humans. Binary is not a natural state of the environment. So, AI is an artificial construct created by imperfect humans and will fail without humans. Remember, in my idea of the world, the entire universe is controlled by the laws of thermodynamics. The first one everybody talks about, the second one, which is entropy, nobody talks about. And it requires constant input. If you want your home to look good, you have to do constant maintenance. Your body does that. As you grow up, you're building, you reach that peak point, and then it's just all about maintenance, trying to keep the parts from falling off. And that's really it. I mean, think about it. If we didn't eat all the time, why do we eat? We eat for two things. We eat for energy, which is negative entropy, and we also eat for materials to replace those that have worn out over time. It's just like an antique car. You have to buy parts. You got to buy the belts and the hoses. You got to buy the fuel. You got to buy all this stuff to keep that car going. Tires, grease and bearings and all that. And our body is better than that. Have you ever seen somebody when they get a hip replacement or knee replacement, the lifespan of the part that they got replaced is less than the original? And that's because the original, which was part of your body, is actually your body can fight entropy in such a way. And, that's it. Our equipment can't do that. Do you know of any piece of equipment that can maintain itself? Do you know of any appliance or anything that we made that takes care of itself? Doesn't exist. Without us humans to constantly keep the system going, it fails. So a lot of people are afraid of AI. I am not afraid of AI. In fact, I think that a group of humans could beat AI at any time. And think about this. Even if AI was smarter than us, where does it get its energy from? We could simply shut off the power. That's it. Shut off the power and AI goes away. Even if we made solar powered AI, eventually the solar panels would degrade and it would fail. So the thing about AI is that AI is just an extension of us. We are AI. We are the original AI. But we're not, well, actually, we are artificial now because of all the duck food that people eat. But artificial intelligence is only a subset of our human intelligence. So don't fear AI. It's not your enemy. What you need to fear are the people who manipulate AI. Who is the source of power? Who gives that the right to do what it does? It's like government. Government is only a threat because it's enforced by force, by the force to make people do things they don't want to do. People don't want to go to war. I don't know anybody that wants to go to war and get shot at and get killed unless there's some kind of psychopath. But the system drags people into there because they create situations that cause problems. And now, hey, see, look, we got some more good comments here. Now, let's see. I make more progress when I eat breakfast after 11 a.m. Huh, not earlier. Well, see, there you go. Eating dinner around 5 p.m. And again, if you're a person that needs to lose weight, you need to do something different than me because I don't need to lose weight. I need to gain weight. It is hard for me to gain weight, really hard. My weight is down to 195, and it was 200. It went down to 195, but my weight can fluctuate by 5 pounds in a day. And a lot of times it's just from nighttime urinating. I can put out 5 pounds of liquid at times. So that is it. And of course, you know, what you eat, your metabolism goes up and down. So I don't really think of it as a weight set amount, but a weight range. And I think having a weight range is the key. If you feel good and it doesn't interfere with your life, being a little heavier is not the end of the world. I know people that are overweight that are healthier than people that are underweight, but it really comes down to your health. Now, let's take a look here. And Lamp says, you are an elite influencer, sir. Well, I don't think I'm an influencer. I may be an elite de-influencer because I work against all the influencers. And Up Syndrome says, do you speak any second language? Um, I have a bit of Spanish, un poquito, but I don't speak it regularly. And I think living in Miami, being surrounded by it kind of turned me off to it. But, I just tell them no entiendo and that's it. But no, English is my language. I would like to get back into it. I might. We'll see. Entropy is taking over my house and it's a losing battle. Yes, it is. But you know what? You have to fight it. And if you fight it, it's like my cat Milton. He can turn my living room into a demolition derby while I'm gone working. And I come home, I find trash scattered everywhere, everything knocked down. But I'm working on it, trying to get it where it's more cat resistant. But yes, that's it. At least here in Florida, the best house is a concrete block. We even have some with poured concrete roofs and floors, and they're becoming more popular, which is good. Bye-bye termites. Lamb says AI is just a search engine with some extra features. That is correct. Well, there's like a generative AI, which tries to come up with things on its own. But most AI, yeah, they're just searching the internet. There's like different levels of AI. Okay. Let's see. Does nature need maintenance? So, no entropy, no God. Well, think about it. Nature runs on a source of negative entropy, which is the sun. If the sun was eliminated, everything in nature would die, including us. Where does the sun's energy come from? Well, it was put there somehow. It's a fusion reactor, as far as we know, and it has a limited lifespan. So, what it comes down to is this: if you don't believe there's a God, if you believe it's all an accident, sooner or later, the sun will go out, and what's going to happen to all the life that we have on the earth? It's just going to be gone. Everything will be gone, and the universe will be in whatever state it was before. So, it doesn't make sense that something would be put together, a complex system like we have, including the whole universe itself. What keeps the universe going? We don't know. Why do the planets rotate? We don't know. There's just a lot of things that we don't know. Even if the stuff initially went into orbit, why does it keep going? Why is the center of the Earth still hot? We really don't know. This could be just like a virtual simulation with a force on the outside. We don't know. And there's no reason to worry about it. There's a principle, I forget the name of it. It's like having insurance. Okay, maybe you believe in God, maybe you don't. But if you do, you have the possibility of being able to be, brought back to some other life or whatever. And if you don't believe in God, then basically this is it. After you kick the bucket, you're done. You're compost and that's it. So what is the advantage of not believing in God? There isn't an advantage. Because if you believe in God, a lot of times when you face troubles and you feel frustrated, you have nobody to talk to, you can always talk to God. And whether or not he actually exists, which we can't prove either way, you're going to feel better. All successful societies always have some kind of religion or some kind of divine belief. Now, a lot of times, the unscrupulous people will use that as a way of controlling people to start wars and kill each other and cheat each other and all that. But really, when it comes down to it, belief in a higher power creator really doesn't have a downside if you think about it. Now, again, it all depends on what rules you're going to accept. Now, just because you believe in God doesn't mean you have to believe all the rules. You may believe in God, but you may not believe the Bible is God's word or that it's even important, but some people do believe it. And there may be certain things in there that are lost in translation. Oh, look, my phone is ringing. Oh, That's a sales call. You can see the button is flashing, but it's not ringing. See? And what that is, a lot of times when a call is not recognized by the asterisk program that I run, it will simply send it to a message. And then the person has to push a button before they can reach me. And then it'll come up on the computer screen telling me who that is. Okay. Now, let's see. And CB Carmack says, damn, Rick, I'm only 6'2", 185 pounds. Yeah, I was 250 while digging out on duck food. Well, there you go. Pigging out. Okay. Rick, you should really be a comedian. You have made my Friday. Thank you. Well, thank you, Denise Ragona. I'm glad that you're here. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being realistic. The sun is a being that captures souls, devouring them to feed earth. That's one theory. I don't know if it's true or not. LOLCB, I hate autocorrect and I hate typing on my phone. Well, I use a keyboard myself. I use a wired keyboard, as you can see, and it's got a wired mouse plugged in. It's got some glue in it where the cable came out. It's something I found on the side of the road. We're poor here. And Peter says to Ellen, how's Mitch doing? Okay. And she'll tell him, there you go. All right, good. Hi, all from Dixie Scott. Hello. God does not exist. And we had something fall in the house. It's a Latin word that means outside of self. Creation is separation from God. Okay. Hi, Dixie. Hi, Peter. Good morning. This is where all the friendly people are. Yes, they are, Smokey Bear Lover, because we're here. This is like a relaxed, friendly. We're not going to say bad things about each other because it doesn't matter. And the thing is, you won't see me trashing anybody unless they go in here and trash me directly. And even that, it takes a lot to make me mad. I tend to be more angry at systems and organizations than at individuals because I think a lot of times individuals, they're a result of their environment. People have been brainwashed, people have been lied to, and it takes them time to wake up and realize how things are really going. Okay, Peter is in LQ Rehab. There we go. So Ellen is answering the question. Not sure what you last heard. Okay, correct. Yes. And again, if you want to share information about Mitch and his situation, I'm sure that many of us are from his channel and you've decided to come to my channel as the second best or third best or fourth best or whatever it is. Although when it comes to carnivores in the United States, I consider myself to be the number one carnivore in the entire United States because I've been doing it longer. I am the tallest and I have a lot of experience on the carnivore diet, and I'm an example of the worst thing that can happen if you're a carnivore for decades. You're going to end up like me with sinus issues and eating meat off the bone, throwing food on the floor, having a cat attack me. Now I'm going to open the door again and let the little monster in. He's going to be licking my hands and probably my face because I've been covered in animal fat. So let me go ahead and let the monster open the door. I'm not going to call him. I'll just open the door and see if he comes in. Okay. The door is open. I normally don't eat in bed, but since I'm washing clothes today, if any animal fat or whatever got onto the sheet or the bed, it's all going to be washed away. And as you know, the detergent I use is basically a mixture of my homemade soap and the Arm & Hammer washing soda, which I found harder to get. They don't even sell it at the Winn-Dixie anymore. They do have it at the Publix, but like everything else at Publix, it's overpriced. So you know what I do? I go to Lowe's. Lowe's has it for $4 and something a box. I'll buy 3 boxes at a time, sometimes 4, depending on what they have. I just buy them all, put them in the kitchen in the upper cabinet, and then it's there for the months that I use it. Now, Milton is chewing on the bone that I threw on the floor. There he is. He hasn't jumped on the bed yet, but he probably will. And as you can probably tell, there's not much left for him to eat, just a few little crumbs. I finished off the fat and everything, so he can lick the dish if he wants to. Okay. Let's see. I haven't heard that. I heard he got back his speech, but I thought got back to him. Okay. I love your concept of God, Rick. That is a great way to conceptualize. Well, that's just basically the minimum thing. Oh, here comes the monster. What are you doing, Milton? You want to play around in the dish? There you go. You can see the little cat head there. You're welcome to lick the dish if you want. Gonna watch that next. Okay. He's already by the door. Yes, I post updates there. Okay. God, this unseen entity not only cares for you, it wants to be in a relationship with you, so it experiences life with you, not just observing you. Good. What do you think causes type 2 diabetes? I think it's like I don't know. I'm not a doctor. How should I know? But what I've seen them talk about is that it's sort of like your system is breaking down. People are eating lots of sugar and their insulin, they constantly have to produce insulin to get the sugar to a normal level. Over time, the insulin doesn't work as well as it used to, and then over time maybe it just kind of breaks down. So I don't know. I guess the pancreas wears out, it can't produce anymore. That must be type 2 diabetes. But again, I notice that when people lose weight and they don't eat duck food, they seem to get better. So that's good. I can find Arm& Hammer washing soda at Walmart. The Walmart here doesn't seem to have it for some reason. And Scooby Ellen says that Mitch can talk, but facial muscles are weak, paralyzed, so it is impaired some, therefore difficult for him to talk and maybe self-conscious. And again, Mitch gets his recognition from being able to speak. He needs to recover fully, take time off. You will be there. We will be there. You are one of us. We will not forget you, okay? If you're looking now, I don't know if he watches our channels. He probably doesn't watch my channel because he tends to keep to himself. But if you do watch my channel, Mitch, realize that your friend in Miami tells you that you need to concentrate on recovery. Don't burn yourself out. You tell us take the rest of the day off, you take the rest of the month off. Okay? Don't kill yourself. And Milton, don't play with the mixer. Don't chew on the XLR cable. I'm going to have to use a stick on you, you silly pet. What are you doing? No. Oh my goodness. Yep, that's Milton for you. Okay. Let's see. All right. Is that your only meal for the day? No, that is breakfast. I will have lunch and dinner after that. So I had 2 pounds of pork for breakfast. I'll have at least 3 to 4 pounds of heart attack chicken for lunch. And then for dinner, generally 2 pounds of ground beef. That's my day. Okay. I have a PET scan at 10, so I'm going to get go. Okay, good. I have to be fasted, so this pork will definitely help me. I'll be hungry. Well, thanks, Terry Sue. I'm glad you appreciated it. Got some highs here. Now, Up Syndrome says that Ranch Lady Maggie has been doing it longer than you probably. Have you heard of her? Yes. In fact, she was the reason why I think Terry and the carnivore cult stopped really communicating with me a lot because up till that point, I was the one that had been carnivore the longest. But then, now she's in Canada. She's not in the United States. So technically, I am still the longest carnivore in the United States, and I am still the tallest because I'm the only one that's taller than Dr. Sean Baker. So I'm a very unique case. But yes, and they have met up with her, although they've been hiding all the videos. I guess they want to keep it secret until they have the movie or whatever that is. So the only thing I saw of her, and as you probably know, I'm a moderator on Anthony Chafee's channel, and Anthony was the one that discovered her. And then she used that notoriety to get some money to help with her ranch so she wouldn't have to go out of business. So that's good. And then she's kind of faded away. I don't really see her on anymore. So I guess they had her on there for a little bit to get some interest and get some funding. And now that she's stable, I do believe that she is in the meat production and selling meat, and that's good for her. And I hope that she continues to be healthy and strong because she's a good example of what the carnivore diet can do. And again, like me, I think she started the carnivore diet because she didn't have a lot of money and that was what was available, and that's good. And if you see how active she is, well, I've never seen it because Carrie and gang won't let her videos loose to the public. They hide them. But I did see her talk on Anthony's channel. You can look on Anthony Chafee's channel and you'll see the interview that he did with her. And by the way, Anthony also interviewed me before that. So, and I'm on all the carnivore channels. I mean, for example, Sean Baker's company, Rivero, they have a very nice write up about me. I saw that when after we did the video, the interview with Sean Baker, and I had to send them an email on how nice it was because it was accurate and it was very good. So again, us, the carnivore community, I think, are the best. We are the nicest people to deal with, and I think because we're not eating duck food and we're not waddling and quacking, we feel confident and we feel happy. So yes, but that's what I have to say about that. And her name is Maggie White. You can look it up. She's supposed to have been carnivore for 65 years. She's in her 80s. She looks awesome for her age. And according to Carrie, she's very active. He was there with her. So that's a good thing. So again, if that's something you're interested in, check it out. But when it comes to male carnivores, I've been the longest carnivore, verified by friends that I've known for over 40 years. My friend Al can vouch for me. I was eating like this when I was in high school when I first met him. My other friend Eric, that I knew since junior high, he remembers when I went carnivore. So my carnivore lifestyle is 100% the longest of any male that's ever been on YouTube that I know of. But again, everybody goes to like the latest and greatest. And since I've been out here for a few years, I'm no longer the trendy one. Now, what happens always with cycles, it'll come back. So that's it. All right, let's see. I'm sending Rick updates so he can share with you guys, and I will do that. Thank you, Ellen. Very good. And Lizzie is 3-day fasting. Good for you. If you can do fasting, especially if you are overweight, I think it is very beneficial. People that have fatty liver and all that, they say the fasting can help. I would never do fasting because there's no reason for me to do it. I consider fasting starvation. That's not what I like to do. I use energy, and I'm like most people run on gasoline. I run on diesel. Okay, if you put gas into a diesel engine, you'll blow it up. If you feed me duck food, I'll get sick very quickly, and I'll probably blow up. Okay. Ellen was tired last night, so he didn't heal me. That's fine. He had the latest info. Okay. I don't want to start using Discord. I've used it before. I just kind of messed up. I lost my password. There's no way to know. Time will tell. Again, how tall is Rick? I am 6 feet 6 inches tall. So I am the tallest carnivore that I know of. If there was, okay. Okay, thanks for the update, Ellen. Yes, he said 6'6". Papa Carnivore, even if muscle function has returned, he can compensate. Yeah, he'll be fine. Mitch will be fine. Don't worry about him. He will find a way to be independent. Yes, he will. He's like me. He's a survivor. He will be fine. Back from my walk. I know you would still be broadcasting. Yes, Bob, I'm still here, and I'm sure I'll see you later when you do your live. And let's see. Holy cow, that's tall. My youngest is 6'3". That's tall to my 5'3". Well, yeah, it is. And kids used to get taller in the past. Now they're not as tall as they used to be. But if you get your kids on the carnivore diet, that's it. Florida says Mitch must be missing his cigar. Yes, he is. You imagine being in the hospital? Yeah, and see, Up Syndrome has a good point. That kid Joey deleted all his stuff, and Joey's channel was the first channel that interviewed me, and my video on his channel had, I think, almost 300,000 views. Now, I was going to try to put out videos after that, but what I was afraid of was becoming a carnivore celebrity. I didn't want to do that, so I waited deliberately. I waited almost a year before I started putting out regular videos because, again, when he interviewed me, I didn't think it would be that popular. But for some reason, his video blew up. And I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden it just blew up. And again, I didn't want to do that. That was in August of 2022. It wasn't really until maybe the summer of 2023 that I started making videos in any kind of regularity. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Look up the last video. Trying to use a community post on YouTube. Okay. Um, 6'6", a foot taller than me. Yes, Bob, 6'6", but I'm gonna have that heart attack, so I'll be a foot tall when I'm on the floor, dead of a heart attack. I dropped the yogurt. I'll add it back in. Okay. Well, you know what? If any kind of dairy is bothering you, stay away from it. You could always introduce it later if you need to. You may not need to. Wouldn't it be nice if Mitch's plumber was compassionate enough to finish the job before Mitch gets home? Yes, it would be. I mean, if he has access to it, I know if I do plumbing for my friends all the time, and I've had one friend who was in the hospital when his wife had cancer, and I did their septic tank drain field, so that was it. They will keep him very busy in rehab, so he may not always be able to watch. Yes. But Kathy, I pass on to Rick, and some of the smaller YouTubers are on Discord, so get things and word gets out. That's it. I'll spread whatever word I have, although my reach is limited because I don't go online that much. Okay. Maggie has a lot of other positives going for her. She works hard, exercise, is outside a lot, and doesn't use tech much. That's true. That's very true. I wonder if Mitch is raising hell with the staff bringing him duck food. Knowing him, he's probably got them well trained because he doesn't take no for an answer. And that's a good thing. Uh-oh. Where did Milton go? Uh-oh. I think I see a tail sticking out of the mixer. Hold on. Oh, Milton, where are you? What are you doing in there? No. No, don't mess with that. Oh, look at that. What did you find? Oh, wow. How did you locate that? I can't believe it. Wow, I can't believe you found this. Huh. That's incredible. I think I know which one this is, too. Look at that. Wow. Well, you are a good explorer, I'll tell you that. Okay, Milton has found something very interesting. Another one of these tapes. I am so hoping I can find a camera for these because my old YouTube videos are here. I may even have the YouTube videos when I had the anti-scammer channel when I was going against the energy scams. You can see videos of my wood-powered truck and the reason why hydrogen energy wouldn't work. I did tests like that. It's almost like today they have the Project Farm channel. I was doing stuff like that back in 2007. So that's where my YouTube thing started. And what else do I have here? What is Milton doing? Oh, that's what it is. See, I was using camcorders when I did YouTube originally. Now, this one over here is digital, so it doesn't use a tape. The other camera was bigger, and you had to push a button, it would pop up, and then you put the tape in it. Well, these, they use a memory card, so, you know, it's different, but this actually still works, and I was using this with some of the tapes there, but okay. Let's see. Okay, I hope you get it figured out. I was worried when I hear back from you. Okay. They're accommodating him fairly well. Bacon, eggs, burger patties. Good. Never digitize the tapes. Well, I did. I had converted them all. Now you got to remember, these are digital, even though they're tapes. And that back then we had like USB 1 and we had something called FireWire, IEEE, I forget what number it was, 14 something, I don't know. So my PC had a FireWire card in it, and then I had to use a FireWire cable, which I still have, and it would go from the camera to the computer. So you had to transfer the tape to the hard drive. Now, what happened was that was an old computer. I believe there were SATA drives, but when I transferred it to YouTube, I just never kept it because space was at a premium. Now, I do have a few digital files. I had one file, which I'm kind of embarrassed about. I took a video of my mom the way she was acting when I tried to send it to the doctor to try to get it because she wouldn't go to the doctor. And I tried to get some information as to what was going on. My mom's mental state was kind of up and down, but I think a lot of it was because of her health issues. Because sometimes she'd be fully normal, but other times she would get dizzy or agitated. I thought my mom was getting dementia or something like that, but it wasn't that. It was not dementia. Excuse me. My mom was definitely anemic, and I think that because she had all these problems. Uh oh. Milton's in the closet now. Oh boy. Hold on. Milton, what are you doing? Little monster. Oh my goodness. Ah, my goodness. Milton has climbed on top of the air conditioner and is putting his paw inside. I don't know what he's got. Okay. Anyway, um, yeah. Yeah, so that's what happened. I did digitize the tapes. I do have a few videos that are left over, but YouTube deleted my channel in 2010. They deleted both of my channels, but thankfully this one came back, but they wiped out all the videos I had because I was using my charger and my truck. I had actually made videos about how I made my wood powered truck. And I don't know why they deleted that because I thought those were good videos. And then I had videos. I had a friend that actually tried to build one of those HHO generators and he put it in his truck to try to get better mileage. And what I did, I told him in the beginning, because of the law of thermodynamics, you're going to get worse mileage. But he went through it. He ended up putting himself in the hospital because the thing backfired. He was using a jar. It blew glass into his arm. So he had to go and get the glass removed and get stitches. Now, he was always sort of accident prone. He's had various accidents. And this is somebody else that's known me since high school days. So you could ask him about my diet and what I've eaten all these years. But anyway, yeah, it's, those videos disappeared. So what I had to do, basically, I just gave up. When they deleted my channel on YouTube in 2010, I followed Rick's principle of go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And I left. I didn't make another YouTube video until 2021. After my mom had died, I got my interest back in YouTube and I started making a few videos. I think I made a video about my payphone, working on my Bobcat, and the hydraulic hoses that I do, and all that stuff. So, that was one of those things that started it. And then it wasn't until 2022 because I'd started watching all these other channels. And then I saw the guy, Joey Schwartz. He called his channel Carnivore Camaraderie. He started interviewing all these people in the carnivore community. And then when I commented on one of his videos, he said, do you want to be interviewed? Because I had mentioned I've been carnivore at that point for 39 years. I started in 1983. And I did that first interview, a second one, and even a third one. But something happened to him, I guess. And I told him before, don't be closed minded. Carnivore diet may work, but, it's it's not the same for everybody. I told him you need to do what works for you. You want to eat some fruit, go ahead and eat it. I've eaten fruit from time to time. It doesn't have any bad effects on me. But anyway, I think when he wanted to be interviewed with me and he saw what I look like, I think that's what really got him excited because before it's like, yeah, carnivore. I've been interviewed by a lot of carnivores, but when he saw the way that I looked and the way that I talked, then he put up this video. You won't believe his age. For some reason, they think that, I didn't look like 54, which was the age I was when I went on his channel. And it's kind of interesting because I don't know why he deleted all of the videos that he had made on the channel. He had interviewed a lot of people in the carnivore community and then deleted it, which I thought was interesting, Now, you can see him. I think Anthony Chafee, see, I didn't copy the interview myself. I should have, but my computer was kind of flaky and, I don't know. But and then I had friends watch it They said the kid was a little strange. I said, yeah, he's a little strange, but he was able to get people to be interviewed. And I think what it is he has kind of the gift of gab. And what happens to a lot of these people once they become popular, it goes to their head and then they become scammers. So I don't know what he's doing now. I know that he had gotten into this life insurance Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme, or whatever they call that, where they convince people to buy insurance for like when they kick the bucket, and then you're going to get them. And then a lot of these insurance people, they use leverage. They may sell a policy, and again, I don't know how they do it honestly, because I thought you had to be licensed to sell insurance, but whatever it is. And I know they got that Valuetainment guy up there down the road up in Palm Beach that does that same kind of life insurance scam. So there's something to it. Now, this was around back in the 80s. I remember guys that got into it and they all got wiped out because, like everything else, scams are only good in the beginning. Once you figure out where the scam is going, then it kind of just dies out. All right. This is turning into one of those super long live streams again. I don't know why this always happens because I don't stop talking. Rick needs to stop talking, and Milton didn't do his job. He should have knocked me offline by now, but it's there. He's still there. All right, so let's hit at these comments so we can wrap this up. Now I have 37 likes, 47 people here. That's pretty good. And let's see. And I'm itching because when I ate all this fat, I got cat hair on my face mixed with the fat. So that's what's giving me the little itch, but it'll go away. And by the way, you know how many of the vegans tell me that animal fat causes acne? Have you ever seen my face with acne on it? It doesn't have it. Now, I got a little bit of facial hair because I haven't shaved this morning. So, and this stuff does tend to grow pretty quickly, and I try to get rid of it, but, anyway. All right, let's hit these comments because I'm learning from these comments a lot. Okay, it says, flour is commonly mixed in pre-made burger patties. Well, that's good to know. My growling stomach just walked me and my laptop into the kitchen. Good for you. Eat. Eat is good for you. Food is good for you. If anyone is in the area, they could do that. Huh. Well, I'm sure it's not the best quality. Maybe he's got his kids bringing him stuff. Yeah, Mitch. Okay. At least he has kids, right? And Jelen says, your interview with Joey Schwartz was great, Rick. That is how I learned of you. Well, that's good. It's a shame that he deleted it. I should have saved it because I think that would have been really good because that's where the whole Rick carnivore thing started. Sadly, they have the worst possible food in the hospital. Cheapest crap. Yes. Now, if I had a hospital, it would still be the cheapest stuff, but it may have been something that was running around in the parking lot of the hospital or by the canal. Everyone jokes about if Rick had a hospital, it would be 2-story. It would look like a big, long building. It would be surrounded by trees. When you walk into it, it would be like 1958. And you'd have the metal beds and, yeah, that sounds like Rick's hospital, terrazzo floors and ducks running all over the place. Yep, that's it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I found Joey because he interviewed Jack Cruz. I couldn't believe that. He rarely does interviews. I actually saw that. It's pretty good. Joey is a kind of a twit, but he had great interviews. Yes, he did. OMG, we're still going. Yes, I'm still here, believe it or not. I'm kind of glad I got here late. Well, that's fine. Any experience fixing newer modern cars? Yes, I just had to fix my friend's 2008 Honda CRV. It turned into a parts changing disaster. We got it done, but they're not like the old cars. The old cars, I could diagnose just by listening to them. Today, even with the OBD2 reader, it's sort of a hit or miss. Okay. I have to go. Try and catch up tomorrow. Well, good, LET. Whenever, you can come and go whenever you want. And CB Carmack says, Joey probably got into life insurance when he gets a cut, then promotes high-carb eating to benefit sooner. That's funny. Well, he did kind of go off the rails. He went on the Paul Saladino diet. But he's young. He can do whatever he wants. He'll be fine. He could smoke cigars and eat duck food and probably be good until he's in his 40s. Okay, I wouldn't doubt it. Thanks for the live stream today, Rick, from Tim Roth. You're one of my favorite carnivore channels. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for the carnivore inspiration. Hey, I'm glad to be here. I might still have a copy of the Joey interview. Well, that's it. If anybody has any of these copies of the early interviews that I've done, go ahead and save them. I may repost it to my channel, and then that way it'll be there, because I do like to watch my old interviews. Now, I know a lot of people don't like to watch the videos they make. I do watch mine sometimes if I don't have a lot going on. And as strange as it may seem, listening to myself talk is actually inspiring to me. This is why I want to recover some of these videos. I did a rant on one of those videos about the economic system, and I was talking about the last real estate bubble, and I was mentioning that the Federal Reserve was going to pump so much funny money into the economy that everything would be in a bubble in 10 years. Now, it's been 15 years, but I was exactly right. Everything I said was true. And I even said that, that some personality, some Hollywood personality would be running for president, just like they did with Reagan. So a lot of the things that I said came true. I talked about here in Miami how bad it would be, and how the traffic would get worse. Everything that happened, I said, and this was back in 2008. I was not even 40 years old yet. I believe at the time I was 39. And I was saying all this stuff. It was pretty funny. And, interestingly, I only got up to probably, I don't know, a couple thousand users at the time. When they deleted my YouTube channel, it reset everything. This was really kind of frustrating. So I had over 2,000 users at the time I made those videos. They deleted my one channel that had the most users. Charger Mopar channel only had a few hundred users. And I think if they wouldn't have deleted my channel, I may have been one of the more popular YouTubers. So instead of having to do the kind of work that I do with my hands, I might have been a YouTube celebrity. Who knows? Which would have been interesting. Because I think if it would have been me instead of somebody like Mr. Beast, I probably would have been more popular, because I tend to relate to people on a more, more personal level. Okay, so let's see. I know it, Ellen. I don't know why, but he did a video of himself on a call trying to sell some older guy insurance, and it was awful. He was like a scammy used car salesman. Yeah, that's Joey's channel. And you'll notice I always comment on his videos. I don't know what's going on. I think once he went off the carnivore diet, the duck food probably hit his brain, and he started waddling and quacking, and that's what happened. Okay, scamming old people. After that, I wouldn't watch him. Yes. An Up Syndrome says, Joey interviewed you twice, right? No, 3 times. He actually interviewed me 3 times. The first time was a real popular one. Then there was a second time, and there was a third one where we talked more about finance and cryptocurrency and all that stuff. There were 3 interviews. The one interview was on the couch. Another interview was when my back was against the window. And I think the third one is when I was up against my stereo system. I tried to move it around. Okay, enjoy your yard sales tomorrow, Rick. I love rummaging, and I do too. And I will let you know if I find anything good. We'll make a video on it. Nicotine is a blood thickener. Just say people may benefit from a low grade or a baby aspirin if using tobacco. Not medical advice, just a thought. Interesting. Thankfully, I don't use any kind of stimulants. No caffeine, no nicotine, no nothing. My stimulants, protein and fat. Saturated fat is what gets me going, and I love saturated fat. See, like right now, I feel awesome. I really do. And I can eat 2 pounds of meat and go outside and do whatever I need to do. I got plenty of energy. I don't feel weighed down. You don't see me falling asleep. I love meat. Meat is like my thing. Okay, let's see. Yes, I was cautioning a friend that his nicotine gum was not good for his heart. You're right. Yep, Kathy. Well, again, I got to get this stuff off my face. It's terrible. But again, all this animal fat, I think, has helped me greatly. I mean, think about it. How many 56-year-old people do you know that have a full head of hair, no acne, I don't have a lot of wrinkles. See, you know, it's normal to have some when you're older, but it's not like people that have paper thin skin. So I'm always eating and getting all mixed up in animal fat. And, it really helps me. I think a lot of times my ability to handle problems and situations, when people are having an argument, people that I know, I'm the voice of reason. I'm always the one that seems to calm the situation down when somebody has an issue. So that's pretty good. And I think a lot of it is down to the carnivore diet. Okay, we're down to 42 people. We have 39 likes. We're actually pretty good. Usually, when the number of viewers goes below the likes, I end the live stream. I should have ended this like 2 hours ago. But one of the problems I have, and this is my weakness here, I get very frustrated with people that do dumb things. Okay. All right. Let's see. Come on, Rick. Stop being a square. Just one drink. Come on. Yeah. Well, you know what? I have had alcohol in the past, usually when I go to a friend's get together. But the thing is that friend of mine has an alcohol problem. So what I did, I told him, I said, you know what? As long as you have an alcohol problem, I won't even touch, not even touch the alcohol, even if it's in a bottle, other than to throw it out when I'm doing a cleanup. I even did a little video on alcohol like a year ago on my channel. I was sitting in my living room with a bunch of alcohol I took out of a house where I did a cleanup, and I was explaining to him my view on it. I don't like the taste of it. I don't see the point in it. Honestly, I know people say that it's sort of a social thing, but again, I don't have to drink alcohol to be social. Everybody likes a good steak unless they're a vegan. I can go to the grill, cook up a bunch of steaks, talk to everybody. People tend to be in a good mood when they're enjoying a delicious steak. So I think in many ways, it's all a construct. People use alcohol as an excuse. That way, if they do some bad behavior, let's say they get a little too friendly, they can blame it on the alcohol. So they may be there, and next thing you know, they're a little too handy with the gals. Or in this world today, maybe with some of the guys, it happens. They'll just blame it on the alcohol. Oh, I don't know what I was thinking. I was drunk, and this and that. You see this a lot with the college guys. You notice every time they build an apartment building for college students, they don't have balconies. They're just windows. It's like a motel. And the reason they do that, according to my understanding, when you have college kids on balconies, every now and then they try to do a Newtonian gravity experiment, as you know what I mean. They may try to defy gravity, but gravity always wins out. And then you have and that's it. And unlike iguanas and ducks that get run over, you can't really do anything with somebody that got dropped from several stories up. So it is kind of, you know, it's just the way it is. But to me, alcohol seems like a losing proposition. It's like gambling. I don't gamble. I believe it's wrong and I believe it's stupid because when you gamble, the net effect is always negative. You may win now and then, but eventually you lose. And even if alcohol gives people a certain sense of enjoyment, eventually it's going to take more than it gives. That's really what it is. Okay. Hmm. Come on, Rick. Yeah. I don't know how nicotine would thicken blood. Well, that's a good question, Ellen. I don't know that either. All I know is that smoking is bad for you. I don't know if the nicotine chemical, I know it's supposed to elevate your heart rate and then suppress it. I really don't know what the deal is, but it is a plant toxin and a true carnivore. And here comes my carnivore. See that little head over there? Look who's coming. Yep. Okay. Well, he's going to do his thing. We'll turn this over here a little bit. There's my little Milton. What? Yeah. What's the matter? I fed you. You want attention, don't you? Yeah, you're cute. You are such a beautiful cat. Anyway, all right, let's see. Okay, Milton, what are you doing? Are you going to turn me off online now, huh? Kizzy, kizzy. You cute little kitten. All right. I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure. You have to read the literature carefully. Here's a question. How long did it take for people you know to get used to the taste of fat and not hating it? Um, my friend who started carnivore in 1998, I don't think he really got used to eating fat until the mid 2000s because he was starting at lean and then had limited success. So he was still eating some plant material at the time, fruits and vegetables. He was still 70% meat. But I think it was probably after he moved 2003, 2004. So it may have been 4 or 5 years before he finally got used to it. Now he likes to eat the fat. But see, you got to remember he was from a bodybuilding background. And when you're bodybuilding, you want to keep your body fat low. Even somebody as skinny as me, I have between 13 and 14% body fat. So, you can see that I'm skinny, but there's some definition. I do have some vascularity, not a lot of it, but I'm about 13 to 14%. A bodybuilder has to be below 10% fat. So that's what it is. So, yeah, something to think about. I have video about nicotine because I see that it constricts blood vessels. Just saying, I'm no expert. Well, constricting a blood vessel is different than thickening blood, but I think if you want to thin your blood, you just drink more water. That's been my understanding. And CB Carmack says it's a poison. Literally, it's been used as insecticide. And I grow tobacco for that reason. I've actually grown tobacco for quite some time. There's some of it growing in my yard. And I would concentrate it and I use it on my tomato plants. Try to keep the insects off. Now, the main enemy of tobacco and tomato is a hornworm. I've made videos on them. They also eat other nightshade plants, such as what is that called? Angel's trumpet. I often find them there, but they're big and bugs. They're very tasty to ducks and birds. So a lot of times I will take the hornworm and I will take it over to the ducks and let them eat it because it's high up. They can't really get to it. But yeah, it is an insecticide. If you think about it, nicotine is produced by the plant to discourage insects from eating it because tobacco plants have a lot of nutrition that insects could live off of, and they have big leaves. So that's it. Okay. Silly kitty. Here's a question from Up Syndrome. Did the kitty just show up one day or picked him up from somewhere? My neighbor found him in the street a couple of miles down in the middle of the road. It's a 4-lane road, and he was almost getting run over because he kept going in and out of traffic. So he grabbed him, tried to find a home for him. Nobody wanted him, brought him over here. And I looked at him. I thought, well, that's a cute little black kitten. My very first cat was a black cat. And coincidentally, when I started the carnivore diet, that was my pet, my little black cat. So now I have another black cat. So I'm living at the same house I grew up in, and I have a black cat. So it's almost like taking me back to when I was a kid and started the carnivore diet. And my black cat actually started on a regular cat food diet and went to a carnivore diet. He lived to 18 years, did pretty well. And yeah, I kind of like having him. Now, it is a little bit difficult if I have to go somewhere. If I want to go to meet up with people, I'll have to drag him along or find one of my friends to take care of him. But I think it's worth it. I mean, he is a cutie. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, look at this beautiful thing. And I've seen a lot of YouTube channels that have cats on them. I love my cat. And, cats are a nice animal. They're relatively low maintenance. They take care of themselves. You don't have to wash them. You just feed them, give them a little attention. They do benefit very much from attention, don't you, buddy? Goody. And he's purring. He's a friendly animal. Okay, we'll put you down. There you go. He's calming down. He was quite wild when I got him, but he's getting better. And I see the cat distribution system at work again. Yes. Okay, it has sympathetic stimulatory effects. I guess you're talking about nicotine. Egg shortage in your area? Yes. I've had trouble. When I go to the store today, I'll check it out, see what they have. And I do have a new Sam's Club membership I'm going to try to get some eggs. I will get some eggs, hopefully. Also, I noticed that the ducks have moved to another part of the canal. So I'm going to go egg hunting over there. I might be able to get some duck eggs, especially this time of the year. Usually I would have 1 to 2 duck eggs a day, with the rest of them being store-bought eggs. I've also been trying to find the parking lot chicken nesting sites, but they hide them really well. and I have a feeling they're not laying at this time of the year, I will get any egg I can. I've even eaten iguana eggs. I found a hole dug in the ground with iguana eggs. I've eaten that. So I'm pretty adaptable when it comes to eggs. Okay. Yes, and there is what Rick said, Kathy. It may actually do that, but then may have paradoxical relaxing effect. Yes, it's always complicated. That's the story of nicotine. And the thing is, the smoking habit is actually a combination of habits, addictions. That's why it's so hard to break. Now, thankfully, I never got into it because I can't stand the smell of any kind of smoke, whether it is tobacco, cannabis, or whatever. And I know that a lot of people that I work with, they definitely smoke cannabis. That seems to be the smoke of, in general today. Sometimes they mix the two. I've seen them mix tobacco and cannabis, but that's what it is. Oh, silly pet. Okay. Thankful for my friend allowing me to his farm fresh eggs. These eggs are twice the size of store eggs. Of course, they're healthier eggs too. I don't think there is danger inside the gum patches. Was he a smoker? Okay. Talking about that. Smoking meat is good. Oh, that's true. But you're smoking externally. You're not smoking it internally. External smoke is fine. Yes, he used to smoke, so nicotine gum is better. Right. Another thing that a lot of people use are the vape devices. Um, they're probably not healthy, but it's got to be better than breathing in toxic tar from plants. Because if you're like me and you make your own fuels, you know that you can also make something called tar from burning plants in a low oxygen environment. It's good for sealing your roof, but it's not so good for putting in your lungs. That's not something you'd want to breathe in. Not good. Okay, so anyway, our viewership has fallen below the likes. So, and it's 11 o'clock. So again, 3 hours. I see my phone is ringing again, but it's a sales call because I don't know. Let me pick it up and see what this is. Hello?
Can you hear me?
It's a sales call. I don't know if you could hear that, but it's always the same thing. Now my system automatically screens them because it can detect the delay, and then it sends them to the message. And what they do, they always say hello, and then they have like in the background people typing and noises. Can you hear me? Are people stupid enough to believe that this actually is a person? No, it does not. And again, I know everybody's voice by listening to them. I know what an AI generated recording is. All right. Hi, Rick, from Steve Harridge. Do you ever remake your own beef jerky or pemmican? I've made pemmican before. Beef jerky is just dried beef. I've done that too. I have, but I don't really eat it that often, so it's a rare thing. But it's easy to make, and yes, I have done it. I believe nicotine is similar to caffeine in its effects in the body. That's good to know. And there is always a thought that the withdrawal is more stress to the body while continuing a low dose of the substance and tapering. So always pros and cons. That's true. It's like people like my friend that tried to go from the vegan diet to the carnivore diet. He was suffering greatly. But by tapering off the vegetables, he's thriving, feels better than ever. He was 50% meat. I think now he says he's 60% meat. And it's been over 2 years. I told him if you spend the rest of your life eating 60% meat and some fruits and vegetables, you're still doing better than 99% of the population. If you really like that stuff, I know he loves his avocados. I give him all the avocados I got because I can't stand the disgusting things. But you're welcome to eat them, all the fruits and vegetables you want. Now, I hate fruit, but again, I have bananas that are rotting on my banana plant because my vegans haven't come by to pick up their bananas. So I guess the rats and the birds are eating them. I haven't touched them. If there's burro bananas there, which I don't have, I might turn those into fried bananas, but I haven't had a banana. I haven't had a piece of fruit, I don't think, this year. Oh, I did eat a couple of oranges a few weeks ago from my sour orange tree, but fruit is not my thing. Okay. Getting more comments all of a sudden. The comments are picking up again. Let's see. Um, I got some nicotine gum. I believe you're right. Transdermal nicotine is different. I didn't feel any SNS side effects from chewing a piece of gum. I don't smoke. Do you recommend tapering off duck food processed sugar? No, what I would do, if it was me, I would eliminate all processed food immediately if you can. Now, if you're addicted to sugar, from what I've seen on other videos, you're never going to get rid of it if you keep eating a little bit, because you're going to structure your life around that time when you eat that little bit of sugar. What I would do is replace the processed food with the natural foods, fruit and vegetables. So, what you could do if you like to eat donuts or other duck food, why not transition that to, let's say, apples, oranges, whatever fruit you like. If you like eating, for example, potato chips or any of the other garbage, corn chips, why not take pork rinds? Find something similar to it. And if you're really addicted to that crap, why don't you check out the Chris Cooking Nashville channel, where they create imitation duck food from carnivore foods. You also have Dustin Keto Simple. There's other channels out there. There's a couple other keto channels where people make food that tastes like the addictive stuff, but isn't. And then that way, once you've eaten that for a while, you'll realize that you're not actually eating sugar, and you may feel confident to get off the addiction. But I think in many ways, once your body can make all the sugar it needs, you're not going to want it anymore. You'll be like me, and you'll look at that stuff as just cheap crap, just something that you feed slaves to keep them alive, and not something you feed kings and noblemen, to keep them healthy. All right, what else do we have? Blood thickness and blood pressure. If you've ever seen my videos, you'll see that my blood pressure is relatively low. Avocados are one of the fruits I'm allergic to. Yes, my throat closes up. Avocados have oxalates, and they have phytates. There's all kinds of crap in avocados, but some people love it. Some people thrive on avocados. I got friends, they love guacamole, and so I'll get the avocados and make it for them, to mix it with sour cream. They love that stuff. All right. I got that and agree. Had to convey meaning live chat. Yes. Interesting. No name person. Yes, that is an interesting comment. My southern in-laws smoked camels and lived in the country. They died in their 80s of heart disease. Drank their well water. There you go. And Dixie Scott loves guacamole. Yes. I can't stand it. Anything green to me is inedible. The only thing I like to eat that's green is an iguana. And when you peel the skin off the iguana, it is white like all the other white meats. So technically, I always say if it's green, it's not food. That's my theory. We ever step on a bug and all that green crap oozes out of it? That's not food. Green is not food. Food is going to be some other color than green. Okay. Do you ever make your own ground meat? Yes. I have the crank type meat grinder. I've even made my own sausage. I have the other one that has a little stem that you put on there, the little tube. You can put your intestines on there and make sausage. So, yes, I do make my own ground beef at times. Okay, he walks with me, Stephanie. Rick, watching your strict sugarless carb-free diet helps me with my sugar addiction. Well, I'm glad that my bad influence can help you, because, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to show you that it can be done. And again, if you're having trouble with sugar, it's not your fault. That's something you were trained to do. And I don't offer any kind of community or club or anything. You just have to try it. And just think of it this way. Don't think of denying yourself something. Think about giving yourself something other people don't have. How many people start their day with big chunks of meat? How many people desire meat like I do? Not very many. They desire cheap crap. And when you buy the cheap crap, you're basically supporting a system that creates value out of nothing. You're taking cheap junk that you would feed to livestock and turning it into food for humans. I don't think we're livestock, although a lot of people do behave like they are, which is kind of a shame. Okay,
And Ellen says, nicotine is nicotine, but there are a lot of other substances in cigarettes. Yes, and when you burn substances, they create even more substances. The more that you oxidize something, the more toxic it becomes. So think about this. When you're smoking, you're oxidizing plant material. There are already toxins in the plant. Can you imagine oxidizing that? Now, heating it may be a little different, but you're actually burning it or oxidizing it. It is possible that a vaporizer with tobacco in it may not be as bad, but a cigarette, cigar, pipe, or anything where you're burning tobacco is going to be more dangerous than even the plant itself. Now, thankfully, the smoke is less absorbed than if you eat it, because I think eating one cigarette is enough to kill you because the nicotine is that deadly. But again, why play Russian roulette with plant material when you can just eat animal foods and feel just as good? I challenge anyone that smokes cigarettes to feel better than I do. When they're working, all they're thinking about is when they're going to have their cigarette. And a lot of people, when they work indoors, they're super stressed because they have to wait for that cigarette break. Meanwhile, I've charged up with fatty meat. I can go for hours. I don't even have to think about when I take my break. I can take my break, go outside, go for a walk if I want to. It's awesome. So why ruin your life with cigarettes? And now today, most people don't want it. In the past, you could smoke anywhere. Now you have to go to certain places. It's just going to restrict your life and who you can, be around. So, all right. My oldest called it gagamole when he was little. It's nasty. I'm telling you, kids are smart. They know what's garbage. CB Carmack, after you waste so much time trying to repair those carnivore versions of duck food, the time consuming inconvenience will drive you to enjoying simplicity of burger patties, eggs, and bacon. Yes, that's why I say try it out. When you see how long it takes, you're going to go, you know what? I can just let my body do all the processing. I'll just cook up the meat to make it safe and I'll eat it myself. That's what I do. You see me eating with nothing. And again, now my hands were greasy, but look, it's gone. Where did it go? Where did all that animal fat go? I didn't wipe it off. I've just been, you know what happened to the animal fat? It got absorbed into my body. That's what happened to it. Would you want to have seed oils on your skin and absorbed into your body? I don't think so. They smell bad and they make you feel lousy. But animal fats, remember, we're all animals in some sense. And unfortunately, although pigs are raised pretty badly, humans and pigs have a lot in common. So lard is actually pretty good for you. If you can get the highest quality lard, that'd be even better. But that's it. Okay, let's see. How to clean rusty meat grinder plates. Okay, that's easy. What you can do, you can buy a product called Osfo, or you can get regular phosphoric acid from Home Depot. It's called Clean Strip Phosphoric Acid. You can throw those plates into a container with that acid and let it work on it. It'll turn the iron oxide, which is rust, into iron phosphate, which is a black material. Then you can use a wire brush to wire it down. Another trick is what's called electrolysis. There are videos on my channel that show you how to do electrolysis on everything from a payphone to a gas tank. So you have two choices there. Electrolysis is my preferred method for cleaning cast iron cookware because it does not degrade the metal any further. Acid takes the metal apart, so it makes it a little more porous. But again, with a meat grinder, it's not an issue because you can use a wire brush to polish it up afterwards. But electrolysis will work. Okay. All right. I think there was less other toxins in the air, food and water, so that helped. Who knows? That's right. And Florida says, lovely North Florida family pooled their money and bought 6 acres, an old house on a lake. Great place to live. And Sandy Blythe says, my donkey used to eat cigarettes. Well, I've seen dogs eat cigarettes, but I've seen several dogs get sick from eating cigarettes. The nicotine in there is very toxic, and that is a problem. TMI warning. I was taking a shower washing myself with wife's body wash. Thought to read ingredients. Damn soybean oil in it. I threw it out of the shower. There you go. Now, if you see how I wash myself, it's with homemade soaps made from lard or tallow and typically washing soda. I did make a soap making video once, but something went wrong in the upload process. I guess I'll have to make another one. Actually, let me see if I have one of my homemade soaps. Nope. Okay, Milton. Move over. Nah, I don't have any homemade soap. All I have is my original rubber ducky from when I was a kid. This is a rubber ducky I used when I was a little kid. I think it's the first rubber ducky my parents ever gave me. You can see it's all chewed up. See how the beak was chewed on? That was me chewing on the rubber ducky. Yeah, little rubber ducky. I love rubber duckies. I have a bunch of new rubber duckies that I use. If you want to hear about too much information, I'll be sitting in my bathtub with about 20 of these things floating around in the water, talking to my duckies and wishing they were real duckies. And by the way, I have had real duckies in the bathtub just as a joke. And that was one of the early videos I made. Maybe one of the reasons why YouTube deleted my channel. I was in the bathtub with a bunch of suds in there. And then I put, I think, 6 or 7 ducklings in there. And they were all paddling around. It was so funny because what had happened was a mama duck got run over and there were ducklings all over, like scattered in the neighborhood. And then they got in the mud puddle and they got under my car and then they got into a bunch of motor oil. So what I did, I got all the rubber duckies, put them in the tub and tried to wash them off. And it was kind of funny because I was sitting there. I had one plastic rubber ducky. I was going like that. And the little duckies were paddling around. And they were diving down. It was so cute. I have to admit, they were probably a week old. They're probably about that big. Super cute. And the duckies. And then it was so funny because I was in the bathtub and I had to delete I had to shorten the video because what happened was when the ducky dived down, it got to a part of me that I wasn't expecting and I jumped out of the water. So I had to cut that part off the video. But that was actually pretty funny having all them ducklings in there. But, we're all strange people. Okay. If you would just stop licking the bottle. The only soap I use is to clean my greasy glasses. There you go. Sounds wonderful. Excellent point, Rick. You'd be horrified. Soybean oil is in a lot of personal care products. That's correct. It was back in the 60s. Too expensive now. Okay. I have to make my own. There's no seed oil in wash. There's petroleum dyes. Yes. I have tons of beef fat saved from cooking burger patties. That's what I do. You save that fat. And what I do, I actually use the fat for frying. When the fat is no longer good for frying, it gets kind of brown. That's when I make soap out of it. Because there's nothing wrong. Just because you can't eat it doesn't mean you can't scrub with it. And actually, the more you cook with the fat, the less odor it has. If you take fresh beef tallow, you're going to smell like meat, which to me is not bad. I mean, I don't mind. I like that smell. A lot of times I have a lot of, like now I got lard all over me. If I get out in the sun, I'm working, start to sweat, that lard smell starts to come back. And it actually makes me hungry. So, most of the people I know that work with, eat a lot of sugar, they have a different smell. And it's kind of bad. It's almost like, it's just weird. It's like an old towel that's been kept, in the bathroom. And I don't know. Anyway. Okay. I don't like tallow creams. Discover that. I was horrified after watching a demonstration of how your skin, yes, absorbs things. That's right. All right. I don't worry about stuff you're going to wash off. Yeah, that's another thing. Solar energy can cause certain plant compounds to be photoreactive. There are plants that are so deadly. There's just like a wild parsnips. If you get the sap on you and you go in the sun, it'll blister your skin. Same thing with the manchineel tree that I have in my backyard, the most toxic tree in Florida. If you get that on your skin, it will blister up really bad, like a burn. I don't know about me switching coconut oil. I'll tell you one thing. I have coconut trees. I've made coconut oil. I used to use coconut oil from my mom. My mom, she loved shrimp, but she wanted breaded fried shrimp. My mom would not allow me to use lard for cooking. So what I would cook for mom is in coconut oil. So what I would do, I would get coconut oil from my coconuts. It's basically just crack open the coconut, scoop out the coconut meat, and then you heat it up. The oil goes to the top, then you put it in the refrigerator and cool it. The hardened material is the coconut oil. Then the coconut meat, which is the grated stuff, I would take that and I would get some eggs, usually store eggs, but I did use duck eggs occasionally, even though my mom said no duck eggs. So what I did, I went ahead and I took the shrimp, and usually I buy the shrimp frozen in bulk, and then you let it thaw out. You get some eggs, and you roll the shrimp around in eggs. Then you get the dried coconut material, and then you roll the shrimp through the coconut material. And then normally I fry it in lard, but my mom would not let me, so I use coconut oil, which I would make. So I made her fried shrimp once a week. That was her thing. She loved fried shrimp. And I had to fool her. They used to sell something in the store in Winn-Dixie. It was cheap. It was like $3 and something a box for a pound of like this fried shrimp. I think it was called Sea Best fried shrimp. And of course, who knows what they put in there? Flour, cornstarch, whatever. But when I made my version of it, Mom liked it better because Sea Best also sold the coconut shrimp. So I made my own version of coconut shrimp. And Mom, at first she wouldn't eat it because I made it. But then what I did when I took the Sea Best box, I put my shrimp in there in the freezer because the shrimp is frozen separately and then dumped in a box. So what I did, I'd freeze up the shrimp on a tray and then I'd put it in the box. And then when it was time to cook shrimp for my mom, I'd open it up. And Sea Best actually was no longer made. My mom was still alive. And she says, I don't know where you get it from. And, I have my sources. What I didn't tell her is I saved all the boxes. I had probably 10 of those boxes from all the shrimp that Mom had eaten. And then I went ahead and did that. So anyway, all right, let's see. Coconut oil. Could you make a soap making video? Yes, I did one before. I need to do another one when I get a chance next. I wasn't here that early. You have a lot of stuff in your sinuses, Rick. Yes. Isn't it healthier to get rid of that stuff by blowing it out? It is, but it comes and goes. You'll see right now it's not as bad as it was. When I ate all that fat, all that cat hair was on my skin. I've wiped it all off, and now I'm fine. I'll be fine for a while. But yes, I've always had sinus issues. When I was a kid, I had a lot of sinus infections, some pretty bad ones, and I used to get ear infections. That whole part of my head is all messed up. And I guess I don't know if it's genetic or it's from what I ate when I was a kid, but it never got any worse. It's never gotten serious. And it actually helps me a lot because when I get sick, unlike a lot of people that get respiratory issues, I get the sinuses so bad that I've never had a respiratory issue. I've never had bronchitis or any kind of like pneumonia because my sinuses are so reactive. As soon as I get hit with a virus or bacteria, I get a really runny nose, stuffy, that's what happens. So I think of it as kind of a blessing. It may be an annoyance for some people that have to listen to me sniffle or whatever, but in my opinion, I think it's very good because despite what a lot of people say, inflammation is not all bad. Short-term inflammation can save your life. If you bump yourself, you hurt yourself, you strain yourself, you feel pain, it prevents you from doing more damage. And in my case, also because I think the way I talk, my voice is a bit strong, and I think the vibration going through my head rattles the sinuses, and that's what causes sometimes itching. But that's okay. And again, I'm glad that I have that. I would rather have this than have lung issues because that would really hurt me. Having an occasional sinus, have to blow your nose, whatever, is like a small price to pay for never having pneumonia. I think that's one of the things that kills most old people is pneumonia. I don't think that's ever going to happen to me. I think the heart attack will get me long before that does. But I have no trouble. I can breathe well at night. So it's not a big deal. Anyway, coconut shrimp. Wow. I'd have to see what the label says on coconut package type. Probably too many additives. Won't be processing my own coconuts. Well, if you don't live in Florida, don't do it. Use pork rinds instead. That's my favorite. My heart attack shrimp uses pork rinds as a breading. But most of the time with seafood, frying is, there's two ways I like to cook seafood. One is boiling, two is frying. So I'm either going to be boiling the seafood, such as lobster, shrimp, crabs, whatever that's really, really good. Or I'll be frying it. I like to fry fish. Sometimes I boil fish. And also, steaming is another good way to cook seafood. It works with iguana also. All white meats, fish, and reptiles are best cooked in a moist environment, whether you deep fry it or whether you boil it or steam it. That's the way to go. Cooking those things on the grill is risky, and a lot of people, they'll use aluminum foil. I am against using aluminum foil on a grill because of the high heat. I have used it on the engine before because it's not quite as hot, but I think putting aluminum foil over a fire is just asking for trouble because aluminum is a very reactive metal and fire temperatures can be a lot hotter. I mean, the most heat you're going to get on a manifold is probably 500 or 600 degrees, and the aluminum foil never actually touches the manifold, it hangs over it. But when you put foil on a fire, and I've seen people do this with potatoes, and I shake my head. I'm like, wow, who would want to even eat a potato in the first place? But anyway, all right. Coconut shrimp. Rick, would you rather be middle class and in the system or poor and out of the system? I'd rather be poor and out of the system, honestly, because it works better for me. The middle class having to go back and forth to work is just not it's not an option for me, especially down here where traffic is terrible. Baking a whole chicken is good, no foil needed. That is correct. If you bake a whole bird with the skin on, it'll keep the moisture and the fat in. That's perfectly fine. Now, my dad used to like rotisserie chicken, so I have a rotisserie that I use in the grill. But again, I prefer deep fried because I don't like things that are kind of burned. You know, I don't like blackened meats or anything like that. I know some people like their fish blackened. My mother used to brown the ground beef, which I don't like. I prefer the ground beef cooked in water so all the fat and everything stays in there. Because the thing is, in my diet, fat is like number one. The more fat, the better. I want to eat as much fat as I can. I don't care about, the meat. They always say, oh, you got to let the meat rest so it seals in the juices. I don't do that. As soon as the meat comes out of the pot, it starts going in my mouth, and that's it. Up Syndrome says, which other YouTube channels do you know are like you, other than the carnivore topic? Like me, there are no channels like me. There is no channel on the YouTube like me, but there are channels that are close. The channels I like to watch are the farming channels because most of the farming channels, they're not really doing a lot of editing. Let me see, you got Michigan Hay Farming Channel. He does a lot with cattle and hay. There's a very popular channel called How Farms Work. You've probably seen that with Ryan and his brother. I forget his name. It's a good channel. I mean, all channels have some editing. There's a couple of dairy channels that I watch. I don't know any others that are really like me. Most of the YouTube channels today, they tend to have intros, they have editing. They're trying to keep people interested. They want to get at least, 50, 60,000 or more users. My channel, I have maybe 3,300 maximum subscribers, and I never get more than 60 viewers. You don't see 100 and something viewers like a lot of these channels get. My channel will never become a large one because I don't have all of the things. Now, there is one guy, his name is Uneducated Economist, Simon. I watch his channel from time to time. He does the same thing. He does interviews from his car. He actually is very popular, probably because he started earlier and got a loyal following. So I guess that would be a similar channel to mine. It's not a carnivore channel, it's a finance channel. His name is Simon. His channel is called Uneducated Economist. That's a possibility right there. All right. Question. Here's another official question. Would cooking with copper foil be less toxic? Well, they do make copper foil, and I hate to tell you, copper is a toxic metal, but it depends on what you're cooking with it. If you cook plant material with copper, remember a lot of copper is present in plants. You can actually get copper toxicity. I know people that have become sick from cooking in copper pots and pans. Copper pots and pans were popular because of their excellent heat transferring abilities. But when vegetables and some fruits are cooked in them, they can absorb copper, and they're very, very toxic. Copper sulfate, for example, was used as a wood preservative. So You probably wouldn't even want to cook your eggs in there. But any sulfur bearing foods, very toxic because it's reactive. So, but what does work foil wise, and I've actually used it, is what they call, it's almost like a stainless steel, but it's not. It's I'm trying to remember what metal that is. But it's like stainless steel. It has nickel in it, it has some chromium, but it is, usable. The problem with any foil is that because it is thin, if you heat it up, it will oxidize. Even if it was pure, you know, pure nickel, for example, nickel is also toxic. All metals in some form are toxic. Iron is toxic in a certain amount, although you need limited amounts. So it's one of those things. Really, if you're going to cook with foil, you need to do it over a heat source and not a fire. So if you put foil in the oven, it's not the worst thing. I've actually done tests where I try to test for the presence of aluminum. We cooked a turkey in foil. We tested the skin of it. There was no detectable aluminum at all. Because again, when you're cooking with saturated fats, which are relatively stable, they act as a barrier, and the chance of the aluminum getting through is almost zero. So again, it's really, really important just to understand some of the basic physics. Okay, so we have some farm eggs for $2 a dozen. Wow, see, I wish we still had farms here instead of those stupid condos. I hate apartments and condos more than anything. They're ugly and they just create so much traffic. Not good. I tell people, why would you come here just to live in a box? You could do that for free in prison. It's much easier. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to go to work. You're sitting in traffic for 3 hours. You might as well just go to jail if you like living in a high rise. Okay. I used a coconut oil in the past, but really greasy. Okay. Duck eggs. $4 for 6 eggs. Huh. Rick, you really can talk. Yes, I can. I guess I could try a small test patch. She's so sweet. I always tip. Okay. $1 or $2. Yeah. Electric smoker at low heat due to no fire. You could use that. You could use the electric heating element with the foil. It should be fine. There is a kit, and I don't remember who manufactures it, but there's a kit where you can test. It has test liquids in there. You can put samples and test for aluminum. You can test for lead. There's a lot of lead tests. So what I would recommend, if you like using aluminum foil, try your cooking method with some of the food you like to cook. Take samples of that food, put it into the test kit, shake it up, and see if the color changes. And that's it. Okay, yeah, this feels like Saturday. Yes, it does. I'm using towel. I brought Milton in here hoping that he would cut me off, but as you can see, where'd you get this from? Oh, he got a hold of a coat hanger, a plastic one somewhere. So anyway, yeah, it's 11:30. I was going to work outside. I've been online for 3 hours, 32 minutes, 33 seconds, and it's almost lunchtime. I need to go to the store and get some heart attack chicken. Now, we have 45 likes. We have 35 people in the room. So what I'll probably do is go ahead and start to end this. If you have another quick question, if not, then I will get you. Let's see. Rick trained us with this Saturday morning. Well, I'm not going to be here Saturday morning because of the yard sales, but maybe I'll drop in Saturday afternoon if somebody wants, because I know a lot of people are missing Mitch's morning coffee. And morning ice water with Rick is not the same, because I had ice water and I had my my meat. Now, you don't see that too much. The only channel I've seen people eat on is actually Sean Baker, and he doesn't eat and talk. So I may be the only one that eats and talks, as you can see, and covers himself with animal fat, because that's just the way that I am. And cat hair, which is still on my skin. I'll wash that off. Okay, and I see Brooke Graves, go get your chicken. Yes, I'm either going to get the chicken from the store, or I got my net. There is some parking lot chicken out here. They were digging holes over there in the parking lot at the muffler place. And I know the guy that's the manager there, he hates the chickens. So every now and then I'll go over there and I'll get some, I'll get my net and I'll grab some parking lot chicken. They're really tasty. That's a treat for me. A parking lot chicken is flavorful. It's a little tough, but it's flavorful. But everything that you put, if you fry it in lard or beef tallow, it helps tenderize it. And that's a good thing about chicken because, even if it is tough, like if you have to cook a rooster, they can be pretty tough too. But then again, you can always marinate it first. All right. And I see that a lot of you have stayed for the whole live stream, which is good. And you probably know that when it comes to all the live streams, mine is the longest. Obviously, some of the other channels can go longer, but they usually have multiple guests, which I don't have yet. I will eventually. Rick, you're so knowledgeable of the chemical reactions. Well, I'm an amateur chemist. And that's it. Sandy Blythe, thanks, Rick. We appreciate you and love you. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you're here. And hopefully, I'll check out. I know Bob was here earlier. He has his live. So we'll see. And I think on Sunday, David DC has his live. I'll try to get on that. I was on Tuesday night with Russ. Every 2 weeks, I do that. So I'm always here. I mean, I'm not always here, but I get here when I can. And hopefully today, I'll get something done because for the last 3 hours and 35 minutes, I've done nothing except this. And my phone hasn't rang except for sales calls. So I guess everyone's caught up with the work and no one is desperate. And that's good. I finished all the side jobs I need to. We'll see what else somebody calls me for. I get all kinds of jobs. Some I like more than others. There's some jobs I really like, some that I don't really care for. But if the job is something I don't like, I won't do it. I'll let somebody else do it. All right. So we have longest live for the longest carnivore time here, right? No, my longest live was over 5 hours. That was last week. We don't want to beat that. That's just crazy. But yeah, but you can see that in the carnivore space, I'm unique. And I think in many ways, other than my sinus issues, I'm pretty healthy. I'll be on my bike riding. I'll try to do a bike video as well. And, compared to the vegans, check out Gregor or Barnard or any of the other vegans out there. See how long they can talk and how long they can talk without editing, which is not very long. And they're usually bobbling their head, walking on a treadmill. They may be waddling. I don't know. Hopefully they're not quacking. But yeah, and they're very annoying to listen to. A lot of these live streams, they yell at you. They act like they're the authority in everything. I'm the authority in nothing. I'm the authority in quackery. I'm not out there trying to make money off of anyone, And definitely, take my camera with me. I hope I can find one of those tomorrow so I can bring back some of these tapes. That would be awesome. Be something to add there. All right. Rick Graves says, all right, Rick. Thank you, Rick. Have a blessed weekend. You too. And I'll be seeing you, I guess, Sunday or I don't know, next week. Who knows? Just keep an eye on my channel if you like me. And if not, you don't have to be here. And hopefully you're going to have a great Friday. You're going to have a great weekend. And the next time I see you, it'll be excellent. Our weather today was good, but I have a feeling it'll be bad by the next couple days because it is Florida. All right. Quack at you next time.